money in the bank. Hit you with the. Hit you with the bank. Hit you with the. Hit you with the 808. Hit you with the. Hit you with the 808. Bang to the break. Bang to the break. Bang to the break. Bang, 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 bang. I'm a boss, and you know that I'm finna shine. Got the money in the bank. Got the money in the bank. Got the money in the bank. Bank, 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 bank. Got the money in the bank. Hit you with the 808. Hit you with the. Hit you with the bank. Hit you with the. Hit you with the 808. Hit you with the. Hit you with the 808. Bang to the break. Bang to the break. Bang to the break. Bang, 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 bang. I'm a boss, and you know that I'm finna shine. Got the money in the bank.
Gonna do it. She's gonna do it. Oh no, she's gonna do it. Why aren't you doing it, Tad?
Okay,
Why are you leaving me to do this
properly.
alone?
1, 2, 3. Forget it. Hello,
left-
everyone,
you
and
left
welcome
it
back.
to do it alone.
This is the VCT Game Changers Asia Pacific LCQ. Tash Bunny here alongside Raf. We were supposed to give you guys a special introduction, but Raf just...
What? How's that my fault? You left me to do it alone. You know, hi guys. Yes.
Anyways, today is day number 2 of the last chance for these teams to qualify for Elite, if you guys didn't know. We already have our teams up here and waiting. And if you guys didn't know, this is the sub stream. So if you guys are interested, we also have another stream going on the FSL main stream.
That's right. So, there's L-Subted for everybody as we have coverage for all our teams, Tosh. And I have to say, we've had a pretty much, I guess, a tour of the pace. You know what I mean? Like, we had really fast games. We had really patient games just from day one alone. So I'm quite excited what day two might be like.
I'm honestly, when I look at most of these tournaments, day one is always going to be very chaotic, because I would call it the icebreaker day, as all the teams sort of find their rhythm, find their momentum, try to understand the pressure they're playing under, and try to size up each other's teams. But as the days go by and we're going through the brackets, that's when you start to see the adjustments coming in from the teams. But for now, let's talk a little bit about what we have expected here on the Game Changers Asia Pacific. Now, starting off, we started off at stage number 1, where we had a $10,000 prize pool. We had open 1, 2, and 3. That's all done, dusted. The teams have been chosen to go to Elite. And now we are here on stage 2 of LCQ, where again, a $10,000 prize pool waits for the winners. And we have 2 teams that will be moving forward to Elite.
That's right. And, our casters yesterday, Quack and Victoria, touched upon how difficult it is to just battle it out to get to Elite, because again, if you didn't make it through the first 2-3 opens, yes, we have our LCQ now, and then you have to duke it out with each other as we look at our LCQ teams, and then you kind of have to fight it out in Elite still, just for a shot at, of course, the global stage.
Yeah, the global stage is where I think most players, if not all players, actually have their eyes on. And here are your teams that will be competing on the last chance qualifiers. Now, I'm sure that you're wondering, where are the big names like SMG, Orangutan X, Global Esports? They are here at the Elite teams. Basically, they have already qualified, so there's no need for them to compete here, which gives a little bit more breathing room and space to the other teams to make it out on top. So we have SMG, Orangutan X, Full Set, Sapphire, RQ Kaguya, Scythe, NWJ, and Global Esports Phoenix. And what awaits the ladies here, as well as the non-binaries over in the VCT GC, is 2 more slots to go to LCQ.
And it's definitely not easier still going into LCQ, because we also talked about how everybody's going to elevate their play and just improve as the circuit continues. And we talked about just the glory and the pride of getting to the global stage, Tosh. And we can't ignore the huge prize pool we have across all the stages too.
That's right. We have $2,500 for first place and second place. Now, I think that when you talk about like how complicated or how hard this one can be as well, is that while the teams under the big organizations, while they are out of the way, some of these players aren't exactly newbies either. We've had players who come from, I would say, really diverse and I would say heavy experiences when it comes to competing. We had players who were ex-SMG like Del Bisky as well. But for now, let's hold that thought as we look at the brackets. So if you didn't follow our journey yesterday, we on the substream did see Nana and Friends versus NYX alongside the Hero KDA and also Bot. On the mainstream, we saw MLT versus BMY alongside DV and NE. And now on this stream today, or at least today, we're going to be seeing NYX versus MLT here alongside Nana and Friends and Be My Team.
It's crazy because this is going to be another rematch for NYX Kyosei, and if it's going to be like their match against Nana and Friends, then we might see them elevate once more, have improvement in their game. But I feel like MLT is still a little bit of a surprise, Tash, because if we remember how their games were like on our other stream, it was very, very momentum heavy. I think they lost their first map, and suddenly they surged back with, I think it was a shutout 13-0 into basically the third map. And again, some of these teams just remain so incredibly unpredictable.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. Again, that's why I say that day one can be very unpredictable, because you can't really understand and know what exactly these girls can bring to the table. But it's only until like day one ends that you can kind of suss out like the strats that they bring in, what kind of aggression they like to play, what kind of play style they like to bring to the table. Because when you look at GC, there's not a lot of VODs floating around about these girls. Most info will just be recorded on on the websites. Never never really, again, you can look at the numbers and the stats, but it doesn't really truly tell a story, unlike watching an actual game.
I got distracted by the logos again as we
Yeah,
have
as
NYX
usual.
Kyosei's Fifi on their logo. And
Listen,
I still think-
listen. I don't want to
Yeah.
be biased here, but like Fifi, like I would catch a grenade for Fifi. Like, you know, the paint shells from Raze, I would catch that for Fifi. You know, the showstopper, I would catch that for Fifi. Yeah.
you know, who wouldn't for Fifi, honestly? This is why we're on Game Changers, to witness the greatness that is Fifi. But again, just to kind of circle back on everything you said, Tash, despite all the, I guess, surprise factors and potential gimmicks that teams could run, at the end of the day, they still have to rely on a solid foundation and just pretty much fundamentals. And I think we're going to be jumping right into one of those teams in a very, very quick minute.
That's right. It's gonna be NYX Kyosei, a team that is the house of the firepower, in my opinion, given the fact that their roster is pretty stacked alongside Delbisky, a Con who was previously known as Miha, somebody one who was previously known as Capricious, alongside Piety and Shuni as well. So these girls have had extensive, I would say, competitive background experiences. While their team, I think that they just came together in this particular open, or rather stage, for LCQ to play, because somebody one was playing in a few other teams prior. I think they have a solid foundation or idea on how exactly to approach this game.
Definitely. Again, we look at them and just the basics of the game. It seems like they have that to a T. And from just looking at the games they had yesterday, the way they collapse on retakes is something to take
beautiful.
note of. And for their opposing team later, which is actually going to be MLT eSports, I feel like MLT, just looking at their track record, they do have a little bit of trouble when teams just become that much more organized. As we look at this lineup, it's a bit of a mixed team still, but don't be fooled. They have a lot of individual talent.
Envious, if I'm not mistaken, was my favorite Omen player of all time last year. Like, I looked at her and she was the one who super inspired me to play an aggressive Omen. Like, I don't play an aggressive Omen yet, I'm still dreaming about it, but if I were to ever play an Omen, it would be just like Envious. But anyways, the team is pretty stacked as well. We have Kfredite, Samfire, Luna, and Eluwu. So Kfredite was also a legend last year, where she was dubbed Clutch Aphrodite with the amount of clutches that she can do. I think at one point, like, she does play Jet, but at certain games, she does run the Omen. So we talked about, I think that that time, I was talking about what would happen if the duelist would be taking a step back into other roles. And it just comes out so beautifully. And I think we've seen that that trend happening out this year, no? Like, we're seeing a lot of the duelists take a step back into Sentinels, into Smokes. But what do you think about this change, Raf?
For like duelists shifting onto other roles, I think flexibility is definitely something that you need in your arsenal, as again, you just have to be versatile as a player. You can't just one trick. I'm talking to all of you insta-lockers. Stop taking my insta-lock Reina and Jet. So you guys go practice.
I feel kind of attacked right now as an insta-lock killjoy. I do not appreciate this. I do not want to deal with the slander right now,
It's
Raf.
not slander, it's the truth. Pick someone else. Anyway, so going back to what we were talking about, I think just our duelists translating their firepower into more backline-oriented roles, or to just a different entry order, is something that all of the players should do. Again, you need that flexibility, because not a lot of times in Valorant where you're going to start off a hit with, you know, all the circumstances you want. You'll never have the perfect conditions. And another thing is, I think everybody's just kind of preparing, because the Jet nerf, I've heard, is pretty miserable.
I mean, this is the last dance, technically. I mean, we're still playing on the previous patch, right? So they're like, this is the last hurrah before it comes forward. But you know what? It makes me really happy. I think that earlier this year, I missed seeing all these girls play. Like, we saw them in those big teams before that. And now, you know, they're coming back in the LCQ in totally different teams, and it makes me so excited to see their names, because it reminds me of the days where I first started casting for GC. Regardless, I think I really want to see the map veto right now. It's going to be really, really fun to see which maps worked. And if you guys weren't watching the main stream yesterday, MLT did manage to 13-0 a team. But before that, they were 13-3'd. So, you know, it's very, very well how the turntables.
Exactly, and these tables, man, sometimes they'll just turn into something else. As I lost my train of thought there.
Tables
I find
turn
this-
into something else. What did they turn into, Raph?
Did you know there's actually portable tables where you can fold it like a suitcase? I've
What?
actually like yeah. Anyway, going back to the game, I think this fracture pick is interesting still because going into our opens or just kind of remembering how our opens were, fracture was almost an insta ban for most of our teams. To
Yeah.
see it getting well practiced and just a lot more airtime, I think it's great for the whole scene itself.
Yeah.
Haven, I think, is a little more leaning towards NYX Kyosei, if I'm not mistaken. Just playstyle wise, again, NYX has a very, very strong base as an anchor for their playstyle. They can
Yes.
pivot off that default. They can pivot off their firepower if they have to, but they also have quite a few set plays in mind. So
They
they
do.
definitely have a mixed bag.
Yeah, I think that for both these teams, I can definitely expect them to both thrive on Haven. I'm not gonna lie. Given the fact that both these teams have, I mean, it's not the first time running on Haven, obviously, and I think that in both situations as well, watching how MLT plays, they do have some firepower as well as some set plays going on as well. It was very fun watching MLT play, so I'm really excited to see how NYX Kyosei, I mean, given the fact that we were, on desk for their particular game, to see how that translates. Now, for Fracture, it's going to be very interesting because, as you mentioned before, it's very set play heavy. You need to have a protocol on how exactly you enter onto the site, how exactly you decide to push or take this area, who's going to be your designated lurker, and how the timing is going to be. So, all eyes, honestly, for me, for NYX Kyosei, is going to be onto Delbisky, if I'm not mistaken. Because for Delbisky, is it Delbisky? It's Delbisky, right? Yeah. Because in my opinion, for Delbisky, seeing her play yesterday as the Sentinel, when her timing has been very, very good. On top of that, she's really sharp with her gunplay as well, and her chamber on Fracture was devastating.
I think that's another thing that MLT have to look out for, right? Because again, NYX, they have a pretty solid foundation and they have the ability to use Delbisky as a major lurk threat that might throw MLT eSports into a bit of a rut, but hopefully they're gonna adjust to that. And again, looking at that third map, we all know I have my reservations about Ascent, but both Quack and Victoria had great points about the map yesterday. It's such
Yeah.
a familiar sight to everybody that you have to be
It's
extra
the OG.
creative. Yeah, and I think Quack brought out I think it was the tiles crush strat from DRX. And again, we've seen that. I think it was the combo, right? The jet flash and dash, but we haven't seen too much of that. Hopefully, we're not gonna see too much of a standard Ascent like comp, because once again, I really would like to see more of that creativity and just the sheer uninteractiveness of B lobby with the Sova sometimes just irritating. And
Yeah.
well, before I
Yeah.
go off on a tangent here, it's okay.
I mean, I would say that definitely both these teams do. I mean, the first of all, the names these two teams carry. These are very, very big names from very, very big teams. They come from very vast competitive experience. So for me, there's a lot of expectation on both these teams. Seeing them play, for me, it's because these teams, some of these players have a lot of firepower. They're known in the scene. They have a reputation, and you want to see them be able to uphold that. But for some of these girls, for Capricious especially, or Miha, they've been competing throughout the entire year, so we can see that consistency come through. But about the rest, because we haven't seen them at all, and I honestly don't know what to predict or what have changed in their playstyle since then. But let's have a look at the agent select.
I totally agree with you, but I think for this matchup in particular, I want to go with the more studied quantity, which is going to be NYX Kyosei.
Wow.
Again, MLT,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they still have that surprise factor for me because, again, it's one of those teams where we haven't really voted out, and I am a man of data for the
Yeah.
most part. And looking at these comps, pretty standard across the board. Since we are actually dealing with a jet nerf, I'm curious who's going to take her stead in these particular comps, right? Because the dash is
Yeah.
still... Well, we're not playing on that patch just
No,
yet.
no, we're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But,
was gonna
you know,
say that I'm gonna go for MLT just because I'm a big fan of Envious, and Kphrodite has a lot to live up to, and I'm really hoping that she's able to do that today.
That's true. That's true. Again, I'm not necessarily going against your points, but NYX Kyosei, they have the clear advantage of having the greatest logo known to man.
It's
How can
true.
you go against that?
Yeah, how
It's
can
impossible.
How can not, do that when Fifi is just that cute? But let's talk a little bit
Exactly.
about strats here. I mean, Envious still on the My favorite Omen. Love that for her.
Mhm.
Elu has been a very sharp Jet player as far as I've known and seen in the I think the previous times I've seen some of her matches. So it is going to be very fun to see how this will all turn out. Regardless, as we go into this game, what are you expecting from this particular matchup?
I think since we talked about Jet, not just from her nerfs, but also players that could play Jet, I think some of these teams might take a page out of the RRQ Kaguya book and just hit that A main as hard as they can, whether it be the attacking side or the defending side, because we've seen, again, that Breach Jet combo just be so dangerous however they want to utilize that. So if these teams want to control tempo and be a little more aggressive, I think that has to be a staple in their playbook, but we'll just have to see how they're going to go around that.
That's right. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, honestly, I feel like this is the most anticipated match of the day. Let's toss it over to Zach. Wait, what? Quack and Victoria, I'm so sorry. Take it away.
I feel
I
like
guess I'm Zach now.
Tash is just trolling you. Yesterday she called you Vic. She was like Vic and Victoria. And today you're Zach.
I guess so.
She's thinking about the other broadcast. There is one more broadcast with another matchup happening right now. There's so much game changing going on. But yes, I'm Chubby Ninja and this is Quack. We also did discover duck can see their own feet. This is one of the many questions you had yesterday. Also finding out Fifi's name, the NYX Kyosei logo. I don't know who that dog belongs to, but it's Fifi.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Fifi.
and Fifi is well represented because NYX Kyosei played fantastic yesterday, and I really do want to see this matchup. I mean, both of these teams were on fire. It was a 2-0 from NYX Kyosei MLT, while it was a full 3 series. 2 of the maps were really strong, but this is going to be our first appearance of Haven for our discussion, at least. And like Raph was saying, Haven is. Oh my God, there's another tactic bear here. Haven is a really strong map for NYX.
It really is. I mean, hopefully we keep the Tactibear hunt going on, but you can already see how confident they are. Delbisky dashing into B site, and they already have control over it.
Spike planted.
They're just moving in really fast, and we have seen this style play to their favor yesterday, and they're continuing this trend, especially during a pistol round, just going hard and fast.
No charges left.
Well, at the same time, I guess a little bit of a trade coming through. Alou with her Sheriff trying to stay alive, but now it's just kind of exposing her back over to Khan. So Luna's going to come in from the other side of the site, where Piety will have to try to defend the spike, but unfortunately with numbers advantage, MLT comes back in and takes the pistol.
Change of plans.
Well, they did get the spike down, and I think they overheated just a bit there. Was they pushed out of that B site and lost all of their pistol duels.
It's yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, watching how the replays play out, it's a lot of positioning, and at the same time, going for such a quick spike plant and then kind of pivoting off site didn't give NYX that much control over B any longer. So you have to recalibrate that one. But because they got the spike plant down, they have some credits. They get to buy some sheriffs.
Yep, the sheriffs are going to come in really handy on long maps like Haven, and they're just positioning outside of A little bit more cautiously here, and they're definitely not dashing in. Really interesting also to see Delbisky back on the duelist. Yesterday, Psalm was the primary duelist, and it looks like they swapped it up for this map.
Hopefully that will give it quite some impact. Delbisky was a pretty sharp chamber player as well. But for the time being, I mean, this is already a somewhat different start as compared to the last time that these two teams faced off, which was during the group stage of LCQ. And in those games, NYX won the first pistol. So I'm not sure if they can wrangle control back away from MLT. Gotta channel your inner Fifis.
That's right, they won
executed to see.
both of those pistols last time.
Oh, I don't know if we're going to be able to bring it back now. Some sheriff shots going through, and Shuni trying to find some trades, but at the end of it, still MLT with their Spectres and Bulldogs. They managed to secure the round. A little bit of damage, but not too bad.
MLT is looking pretty beastie right now with a really strong start, and Haven this round going to round 3 as NYX buys up. They will need to get this round, otherwise it's going to look really painful on Haven.
It's
Silence their breed.
that's where things really start to get heated. But again, I mean, 13-5 scoreline from the previous time that they played with each other. So MLT might just have adjusted around this, but with such an open peek on towards C long, they're going to get punished, and NYX has more options to explore now because, I mean, this is the thing about Haven, right, Vic? You have so many different points of entry that you have to cover so much, and it's tough to control the map as a defender.
And they lost their controller, so doubly hard. That's probably not the agent that you wanted to go down at this point in time. See some getting some space in mid.
Oh, she's just hiding here.
Recalling my bot.
Yeah, waiting for that rotation. And looks like she's going to catch them.
MLT, though, they're also kind of moving across the map, but they won't have any idea that Samd is in back of B. So that's a free kill already. Sam walks straight into Miha or Khan. And now it's all down to Elu. She only has a sheriff. Sure, it's a Neon Frontier, but... I mean, Neo Frontier, but... Against a Vandal, a Champions Vandal? Yeah, it's just gonna be NYX fighting back now.
That was really unfortunate that she's just facing off a Champions Vandal skin. And one of the original ones. Those are definitely the highest buff skins.
The die for you one. Yeah, that's the best.
It is the best one, right? Is that your favorite
Actually,
Champions
no,
skin?
I like the newer one. I really like Taking Away. Yes.
Taking Away?
And the music video is just too good.
It is. It gives you a lot of feels. But I don't know. Champions, OG Vandal, back in the day.
When you have a giant brimstone staring at you.
Right.
But okay, we've got Elu with an operator now this time, and she's going to be watching down mid. NYX exploring towards the A site, though. Ooh, good smoke.
Both of these teams playing very patiently right now, just waiting for any sort of peak, any sort of contact right now before they make their first movements.
Placing swarm grenade.
Especially because you want to secure the momentum this early on. If NYX can take this round, effectively they would be ruining MLT's economy, which would be great, but op shots fired off, and they know to kind of avoid the B site now. However, it is Sam who got tagged, so she has to be a little bit careful. At the same time, while we're talking about this, NYX is taking up so much time. They only have 40 seconds left to hit a site.
Yeah, this is going to be really tough at this point because Aluwu is completely repositioned onto A with her op. This is going to be a lot harder now because it looks like NYX is still choosing to go into A.
No charges left.
Oh, execute in though. Still have the good old cloud burst, and she's hiding inside of it, playing around with Aluwu, and takes her down. Khan with the triple. That is pretty adorable, like a puppy playing with water. But now, two players trying to retake, and it's near impossible for them. Khan trying to land some flicks. Not gonna happen just yet. But it's safe to say that NYX is in full control right now, and we're going back in for more peaks. This puppy really likes playing with water.
Yeah, it's really adorable.
Calling my bot. Bot coming back.
At this point, we're really going to miss these 2-second smokes from Jett because that really helped NYX get onto site in what looked like it would have been really difficult to get into with MLT completely ready for that A hit. And there's not much they can do at this point.
All right.
They're opting to save.
Definitely want, well, NYX would have to hold on to their weapons. And if MLT can, you know, I guess keep some weapons going into the next round, they'll stand a slightly better chance. But the rest of their team would not have enough to, buy up right now because they only have about, 2,000 credits here or there. Aluwu with the Blade Storm, though, might be able to find some impact, and that's where you need to see MLT going on the offensive. Yeah,
at this point with the economy like this, you kind of want that money in your belly, but they're going to have to play very cautiously or else very cleverly. And it looks like they're pushing out of mid to change up the tempo.
Okay. I kind of like it. Suppressive fire, and they think that there's just someone stationed outside. No idea that LU has slipped right underneath window. NYX, though, are pretty cautious as well right now. The Spike's not really committed to any single site just yet. A 3-woman squad staring down C, and it forces MLT to smoke it off.
Enemy down.
Oh, wait, Som checks under window. That is
Unfortunate.
experience for NYX.
That's absolutely just sensing someone there taking out that Blade Storm.
I was not expecting that, Vic. How did she... Like, you don't normally check a corner like that unless you really have that much experience to know. All right, my opponent might just pull something cheeky like this.
Well, these teams are pretty familiar with each other, right? The Des was talking about it just now. Some of them even used to be on each other's teams. So that
30 seconds.
probably comes into play.
Oh my god!
Envious.
Some of these tendencies, and it still shines through, but at the end of it, Delbisky pulls things back towards a normal pace, and now just getting some clear flicks. Som will be able to take down Samfire, giving NYX the 3rd win in this first half.
Yeah, NYX is starting to put their,
Enemy down.
foot to the pedal now.
30 seconds left.
Still can't believe that Envious managed to get that though. And that's why you save up rifles sometimes, and just making sure that she always has these well-timed dark covers blocking off C long. Yes, it was the execute coming out from Delbisky with the tailwind onto the site, but with the rest of them streaming through, Envious, having been a former Jet player, instantly knows how to work her way around it. LU now peeking out of A short though, and it's a pure gunfight. Traits coming through from Shuni, and we're back to a 4-on-4, Vic.
Yeah, that's right. 4-on-4, and it looks like they are just waiting for that timing that things are just ticking away for NYX as they position up into the A hit.
Okay,
But the breach is still up.
Right here.
Samfire is there, along with Luna, who can easily get some intel, while NYX slowly creeps up quietly.
Hey, Sam is 1 point away from her ultimate too. But so is Shuni. You want to be very careful about this. Smoking off heaven, that's how it starts. And then now, defender spawn. Instantly streaming through. The recon giving them extra value as well. Khan landing that one shot. So we're back to a 3-on-4 scenario. What's crucial is now if Sam can find some angle where she could get one frag possibly, she might be able to throw out a Rolling Thunder, which would greatly increase their chances of being successful with this retake. But it starts with paranoia. Khan instantly peeking off of it though. It's gonna be a quadra kill, shutting down Envious's efforts. NYX, they are still going strong.
Oh my goodness, it's like a people conveyor belt walking into Khan's crosshairs. Once again.
One enemy remaining.
Sorry, what was that, Vic? A people conveyor belt?
That's right. It's like a conveyor belt for people.
So they just feed
Just for
into Khan.
Just into Khan's recon and her crosshairs.
That is great. And that's kind of what we saw.
Khan has double the amount of kills of the next person on her team.
Alarm bot
In
down.
just like 2 rounds as well. As the initiator, that's insane. And that's, again, why these two teams are kind of poised to be one of the strongest in this LCQ as well. They have so much experience in game changers, but now coming through with it, they don't care. They know that it's just sheriffs on MLT's side, so going in with those confident duels, they're winning
Spike
all of
planted.
them. All 5 ultimates online, and they don't even need it yet. Now Delbisky getting a little bit overconfident. They peek out one by one. LU shuts that down for the time being, and then Shuni trades. We're down to the last player alive, and that's going to be Samfire.
Look at Khan with one bullet in the chamber, so confident. And
okay.
ace grid. And that
And the Rolling
we're
Thunder.
talking about waiting for that Rolling Thunder. And unfortunately, Shuni
Man.
doesn't allow it. You know, at this point, it was a good idea from NYX. They were conditioning a bit on that A site pausing before pushing in with explosiveness. But coming into this round, they just went full throttle and completely took over the site. I think that overconfidence here did you know, get a little costly for them.
Well, for NYX or Sapphire, I mean, I could see it going a little bit both ways. Sam, that was a pretty smart idea with the Rolling Thunder, actually. If it paid off, that would have been huge. NYX, on the other hand, just kept on going for those duels. And yes, it did bite them in the heel a little bit towards the end. But ultimately, they knew that they had enough to come up with a win at the end regardless. And it's kind of like what Tash was talking about yesterday on the desk as well. Because Rolling Thunder is one of those ults that, while impactful, if your opponent's just sharp with their shooting and you're not able to take those duels confidently enough, it only affects your rate of fire, your vision perhaps a little bit. And if you just crouch down and go for that one crisp headshot, it's still good enough for you that you don't need to worry about the Rolling Thunder. As such, it's 5 rounds in a row now for NYX, and MLT has to call the timeout.
You make excellent points, Quack, but that was a really weird angle of Tactibear, the backside of Tactibear, that we were just looking at for the entire duration while you explained that. All right, they're switching it up now.
I guess setting up for retakes instead? But Khan just shoots through the smoke. Elu's dead.
Spike planted.
Now it's a Hunter's Fury denying that lockdown. Delbisky's still watching angles. Counter Hunter's Fury, but it doesn't really connect.
Revealing area. Shot down.
Trying to get any info possible at this rate. It's still winnable to 2v3, 2v2.
Last player standing.
MLT needs this so badly right now.
And it's gonna come through, Vic.
Yeah.
And it starts with that recon bolt as well. I mean, yes, a lot of utility was dumped, but you could see off of the timeout a clear call in going for a retake.
Yeah, the retake was good. I
think one of my favorite things, Vic, though, is, I mean, if we could catch it on the replays, would be Aphrodite with the way that she found those 2 initial frags, I think somewhere outside of Garage. Because it shows that she still has that clutch Aphrodite gene in her. And it opens the site up enough for the rest of the squad to push through from defender spawn. And at the same time, just the recon bolt and everything else. It is great. And that's how MLT could come back into the game. It's already a slightly different performance as to the last time that they played on Haven. MLT actually stands a chance at turning this around on its head.
Yeah, absolutely. While NYX did find a little bit of momentum those first couple of rounds,
Right there.
at this rate, MLT needs to switch it up, and they are right now. You can see them pushing out of defender side on mid to throw NYX off guard, and it looks like it's already happening.
And NYX now just has to consider, like, where are MLT going to show up from? Shuni almost, I think she did see Elu. Then again, the tail end is prepped up. Attacking lockdown has been deployed, so it forces MLT to make a move or to wait out the timer. In fact, they actually push up front. Envious taking out the lockdown. A bit of a sacrificial play, but it allows for the team to actually push in deeper.
Player standing.
Now going in, Elulu. The recon ball from Khan, though, it's going to reveal quite a bit. She's pinned down, trapped in a corner, and the shock dart is what bites her down. NYX with the plays. Post-plant holding down the site. It's 6-3, and they've doubled up the scoreline. I mean, just a great way of kind of coming back in. Quick adaptations, knowing that MLT would go in for some kind of a crazy retake. They set up for it. And if you're paying attention, NYX have been cycling through their ultimates, you know, not just fully overcommitting a lot of them, but it works out so well, Vic. Now they still have 3 left.
MLT is not happy with this right now. Aluwa's got her knives out, her blade storm up, waiting for someone to step into her crosshair. And at this point, I think she might be pushing up if nothing happens too soon.
Gonna have to be careful though. The drone is coming through. All right, Luna.
Yeah, Luna covering her. There we go.
Yeah, that's what we want to see. Still just an initial frag though, Vic.
It is. It is. Trade on both sides. Tell the girls, both teams are just trying to figure out what to do, what to make. Next move.
I have the spike.
Well, that might have
Yeah.
given them a suggestion as to what to do.
Yeah, it's interesting. They still choose to go into A side anyway.
I think they're thinking that it might have pulled the rotations over. But seeing that aftershock and at the
30
same
seconds
time with
left.
Piety and her from the shadows, it's quick and simple enough that they
planted.
can rotate fully over onto the C site, maybe pull off some lurks towards mid or garage as well, and that's what Sam clearly wants to do.
Yeah, it was a really clever move by NYX there, finding out most of them are on A site, drawing the rest of the team there, repositioning on C for that plant. It gives them ample time to push back the
Enemy
defenders.
remaining.
What?
Oh no.
I can't believe this is happening.
How is this turning around?
World
enemy
comes back
remaining.
into it, and Delbisky is still alive. Has to spray through the cover, though. And she can't quite spot out Eluwu. Finally sees it, but... No, we were inside that dark cover, so actually Eluwu was completely covered, and she stuck the defuse all the way through. A thrifty win for MLT.
You know, I thought NYX was being the more clever ones here, but MLT, in the end, just holding that defuse down is really all it takes in a dark cover.
One enemy
I
remaining.
can't, at the same time, too, I mean, Vic, it's just... First you have the Blade Storm, and then Envious with a Frenzy. It's just a 450 credits. That's all it took. Inside Garage. And unfortunate timings from NYX's side. Along with Aluwu and the Sheriff also watching her back. I mean, both teams are really shaping up right now. But NYX clearly has some strats in mind. A quick B execute again. They get the spike planted, and they immediately back off.
Yeah, this is a much better repositioning than that first pistol round when they took B site.
Now just trying to hold as well. But here comes MLT with a retake. Oh, unfortunately, Shuni's not going to be able to survive that one. The rest of them pushing out of B, and Piety just holds it down, doesn't care, but pulls out the utility at the wrong time now, despite blinding K-Fredite. Still not quite able to pull out her weapon in time. That's because of the animation. So MLT, K-Fredite, just a little bit sharper with it. Enough of a reaction to come back in 5-6.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunate for Pady, who was yesterday as well. Really incredible with her sharpshooting. And we see a bit more of that coming in today. I imagine a lot of these girls are just warming up on both teams on this first map. I think this tends to be the trend for MLT. They seem to need a couple of rounds, perhaps even a whole game before they, you see their full form.
It does kind of look like it, doesn't it? Especially if you think about their series yesterday. But now, I mean, 5-6, this is already shaping up to be a great first half. Elu is clearly warmed up. Operator shots fired off.
They also have 3 ults online right now that can either push them back or retake site. Whether it is Breach's ult or the lockdown, they have a lot going for them right now.
Especially the lockdown too. But that's also why they kind of need to play it safe. And this is just great for MLT right now, Vic. We might see a 6-6 first half.
Yeah, which is really appropriate. This is the upper bracket right now. Both of these teams have been performing excellently coming into this LCQ.
Oh, that was a little bit strange, like Thai pineapple coffee, but still, NYX continues to push through. But that is where they meet so much resistance. Luna putting up a front, and it's going to cost a player to come in with a trade. The defending lockdown flushes them over onto the A site, though, and Somnus now pinned down in a tiny little
30
corner.
seconds left.
She manages to evade it, but now walking back in the crosshairs, the barrel spotted. Elu not quite landing the shot there. Swaps over to a Vandal.
Like
I'm
a
pretty sure the
merry-go-round.
Som can hear this. They're kind of going around it, but still, Som with the simple tap. We've got ultimates in this round. We might as well use them. And Som only has 10 seconds to stick the plant now. She's thankfully under cover. But then again, 2-on-1. She might have her lockdown, but do you really want to use it though?
It is really close. Opting not to use it. Goes down to the Bulldog.
Yeah, wraps around the side of the corner, Sam. I mean, it was really difficult, but unfortunately not quite able to land that frag. I mean, Vic, this whole round starts off with what we just saw, Elu and that operator. And then at the same time, anytime that NYX tries to push through, this time MLT were prepared. This time we had players like Luna actually shooting them down. So it's pretty good play. But you know what? 6-6. This is not over yet. Either team could come back, and Tash and Ref surely can give us some predictions about this.
Predictions might be a little bit hard, but I would love to talk about that game. First of all, number one, the two teams are performing excellently. It looked very strong for round number one, the pistol. But then for NYX, they were a lot faster in finding their momentum early. But while it did take a while for them to really figure it out, after a while, MLT really started to catch up. But regardless of what the outcome was, the rounds have been incredibly close.
Exactly. I mean, at the start of the game, we saw quite a few pathing issues from both sides. A lot of the fights, especially on site, were a little messy. And at times, Eluwu would hard commit that operator on a site where she did have teammates, yes, but then they got drowned out by the opposing utility. But again, Eluwu started landing some really, really nasty shots. And one thing I really like about NYX is that they're reasonably quick, but quite thorough when it comes to checking spots that could potentially poison the well. And what I'm talking about is off angles. Quack actually pointed it out. Who would check that spot under window at that early of a mark? And
Exactly.
another thing is that even though MLT is a mixed team, there are times where they're a little disjointed, but that individual prowess, Tash, really comes out in chaotic moments where they can still salvage gunfights and have, again, insanity like round 10.
Yeah, I really think so too. And I think for a lot of these teams, right, when it comes to down to the wire, how close things are, it comes down to those hero plays, whether or not Eluwu can get the clutch, whether or not, Delbisky can get those multi-frags. We saw that happen a lot as well alongside Envious. So I'm really excited to see how exactly it's going to go, because honestly, I thought that NYX had it in the bag. But for now, let's see whether or not will the turntables happen. Quack and Victoria, this time around, I got your name right. Bring us the second half.
She got our names right. Finally.
Well, just yours, really. Congratulations, getting your name right.
Thank you, Tash.
That was a really nicely played first half of the game. It's a 6x6 Tacti Bear staring into your soul into this upper bracket. Both teams are playing really well. NYX really pulling out that aggressive play that we've started to get used to. I really like their explosive movements here, even with MLT knowing that they're getting lined up to go into a particular site. NYX holds for that right moment, explodes into sight, and throws MLT off guard. But we know swapping now, it's time for MLT to see what they can do.
Yeah, we've seen a lot coming out from Eluwu, so she might just be able to do something. But speaking of Tactibears, you know what I really like is the Tacti Bunny in the back of Vic's background.
You like my Tacti Bunny? Thank you. I like my Tacti Bunny too. His own Easter egg here. They execute into garage.
Oh.
But the Omen Smoke ends up going against their favor. Luna just jumping like a Tacti Bunny. Trying to pick some kills. Oof.
Oh no!
Just the animation. The sofa collapsing.
It's like she was trying so hard to stay alive.
Yeah. It's like a little A bullet to the shoulder.
That just brings us back into it. A 2-on-4 scenario. MLT might have gotten the spike down, but they're not out of the woods yet, Vic.
No. This could easily turn around. NYX does tend to just run in just like that. Death. But they managed to pull through.
Pretty good retake. I mean, still, Aphrodite able to kind of hide with the back of hell for a second longer. Enables her to find that first initial headshot, but then just again overwhelming numbers. NYX, they are really good at this, and if you watch the replays, it's pretty amazing how Khan repeatedly finds these shots through dark covers, through I guess wooden panels at times, and it's just smart because you're playing that recon agent, so you kind of know what your opponents are about to do, and it's a great way for NYX to start off the second half.
Look at Patey. She's gearing up for her jet right now. That paranoia. Lulu stepping out, getting that kill. You know, things are definitely going according to plan right now. They're playing very offensively.
Whoa! The third Vic.
One enemy remaining.
Is it gonna be? Is it?
Who could have predicted this?
Well, it's not. She got killed, but she got a fourth. But still a ridiculously incredible round coming out from NYX.
Yeah, NYX is playing so differently than MLT right now on defender side. Just pushing out of sight. They know they have the superior gun power, and this is the correct play. Not waiting for them to make their move, not giving them a chance to think.
You definitely just don't want to allow your opponents to, I don't know, recover at all, right? You just keep on relentlessly jumping at them, but maybe Khan got a little bit greedy towards the end. 8-6 though, and such an amazing start. And this is exactly how you want to play on Haven, taking away map control from your opponents, right? But still, now that MLT has the full buys, NYX is gonna have to temper that aggression a little bit.
They're gonna tap into garage again, executing here, getting ready with that flash. Lulu stepping in with a
Here.
Delbisky getting away. Bun, her hair bun, safely intact.
Just kind of floating in the wind as she tailwinds away. But still, I mean, it's kind of that just exploring across the map. Shuni was eliminated though towards C-Link. And that definitely hurts NYX's map control right now. Although they do have a Guardian, it comes down to how you play that info game, and Som is hearing so much.
Som is ready. Oh no! Or not. I thought her little crouchy dance, she was ready for it.
30 seconds left.
Well, crouchy dance or not, now the rest of them surely are not too ready to defend the A site. Piety though, she's gonna try to wrap around the back. She manages to retrieve a weapon.
That weapon could do a lot of damage, especially in the hands of someone like
One
Piety.
enemy remaining.
But not quite this time.
Yeah, not quite. Tried to start things off with the paranoia though, Vic. Unfortunately, just pushing out of it, that does not quite protect you from anyone who might position around graffiti. It does clear out hell, but yeah, it's just not enough numbers to really take on that engagement. So wait for MLT to recover. It is a 2-1 start in the second half. Now we've got NYX back on their full buys. I hope they do something spicy.
It looks like they have something spicy going on. Look how ready they are at that A long with their initiator and jet, but no one's there to greet them because MLT is going to see.
Oh no, it's kind of like an overcooked papaya.
Yeah.
You have this strat, but then your opponents are elsewhere. But it doesn't matter if Som and Piety are here.
Yeah. That papaya is a little mushy right now.
One enemy remaining.
Oh my goodness. And they just line up for Piety.
Patey's
Another
scary.
people conveyor belt moment.
That's right. This time for Patey. Patey and Khan are just getting really crucial multi-Ks in each one of these
One
rounds.
enemy remaining.
And it's that anchor potential as an Omen player, just hiding towards the back of the site, hearing the footsteps, knowing how and when to peek off of it. She's able to dish out so much damage, and MLT are forced to reconsider how they hit sites because Patey was not affected by any utility whatsoever. So that's kind of the thing that you really need to consider when you go in for an execute.
Oh, look at NYX.
Wow.
Davisky.
Okay.
Not getting a hint, but getting plenty of info here about where they're positioning.
Okay, some jiggle peeks. Just trying to ensure that MLT aren't really pushing up right now. And maybe finding a frag as well. Con, incredible with this.
You should run.
Hunter's Fury not finding any of them, but definitely slowing them down.
And because the Hunter's Fury was spent though, Vic, that means there's nothing there to counter the lockdown. Hence K4daddy placing this down, but just streaming in a little bit carelessly. Envious not smoking off heaven for her. It just leaves things a little bit open, and her head got taken clean off. Now the spike is still hovering around the A side. You've got 30 seconds left, but there's just so much resistance now that Delbisky is here.
Aftershock takes Delbisky off her feet.
Ooh.
Luna taking advantage of that.
Clean heads-up duels. Now you have Sam approaching from A long.
They have all their angles covered. Oh, or not! Luna.
One enemy remaining.
Didn't expect that.
Last player standing.
That was really strange. What did you say it was strange like? It was strange, like Thai iced coffee. That was really fortunate. Patey managing to get 2 of those kills off of the unsuspecting enemies.
Yeah, but trying to play around it at the same time, unfortunately not quite able to deal with Psalm's utility and her sharp shooting. Again, that's why Sentinels and Duelists, they're so crucial, and they always have some of the best aim and shooting mechanics in the game. Approaching from the back, she instantly eliminates 2. And then despite Patey kind of getting taken out, Psalm's turret and her slight little jiggle movement really threw Envious off. So this puts NYX in such a huge lead that they have no choice but to spend their final timeout, MLT, trying to recover from this loss.
Yeah, and look at their economy right now. They don't have much going on for them. They do have 3 ults online. Samfire, really close to getting her Rolling Thunder, which could be really helpful here, pushing into site or at least keeping that post plant. But they need this timeout. The other team has just got so much in the bank and their own ults online at the moment. And NYX is just playing really fast, not giving MLT any opportunity to think.
You're absolutely right, Vic. Oh my gosh, they have so much in their money in their belly that you've got this operator coming out from Delbisky, the lockdown from Sam, which is again, like you mentioned before, Vic, great in a retake scenario. I think MLT might just need to cook up a plan where perhaps they retrieve an alt orb or Samfire finds a frag somewhere. Maybe the Rolling Thunder comes up huge in the following round, but right now, Aluwu committing the Blade Storm. It is an eco round, so you're gonna want to be careful about it.
Ooh, yeah. I want to see Aluwu do something really effective with her Blade Storm. Creeping up into B. Sending out.
Utility.
Not quite. She's so blind right now. Poor thing.
I know.
Gun here.
On just doing her thing.
One enemy remaining.
I can't believe it. She's just doing her thing. Watching from A and C link and just shooting them down. But then at the same time, and I mean, Delbisky with her operator just shoots and punches through so much of it. So maybe the timeout impact not quite felt in this round, but hopefully the next, because if MLT doesn't take up the next round, it's gonna be match points.
Yeah, and we're already, I mean, 5 rounds already for NYX Kyosei. They're just on a really good trajectory over here.
Still, it's those ultimates. I can't believe, sometimes it's just so unlucky. You tailwind onto site, instantly get hit by a fault line or something. Delbisky now peeking out of A short. It's a great way to start, but painful for MLT.
MLT does have their rifles, but they really need this round. At this rate, it's become very obvious. Just going in on contact isn't enough for MLT. I imagine they're finding the right moments for their ults. And there we go.
Down, C.
Might be the Rolling Thunder, but look at them. They're still so good. It's a knife pick.
It's a knife. It's a knife. Is this the first knife that we've seen in Game Changers LCQ?
You know, I'm not sure. We have to consider the mainstream as well, but look at how she actually got that one.
You know what? I can always appreciate a knife when you look your opponent, your enemy, in their face. When you bring your axe down over their head. There's something honorable about it.
Bring axe down over your opponent's head. Quote said by Victoria Chubby Ninja Chang, honorary member of Team Secret.
That's right. Nothing like a good knife. You know, it's well appreciated. And Blue just stepping into Beatty's crosshairs.
Blinding.
How's she not pinged by that recon? And it's just so unfortunate, but here it is, match point, and they're dropping down like flies one by one.
I don't know, the flies in Singapore don't seem to drop really easily. But in this case, they are falling. But it's not unrecoverable. It is a 2v5. Spike is still within their reach. You can see that they're thinking right now what the next move can possibly be, but NYX is
Right there.
set up for that crossfire. This is going to be really difficult going into this B site.
Flawless.
Oh, it's almost as if there's just such a
Defenders
big
win.
wall right in front of them. Too tall to jump over. Song with her frags, and so many of these NYX players going aggressive with some of these picks. Delbisky with that operator again. It's just so oppressing, I think, for MLT sometimes, especially on this attacking side.
Yeah, oppressing, almost suffocating the way that they're moving about, not giving them any opportunity to think. They're so ready. By the time MLT is ready to entry into any site or garage, they're ready to go. MLT is going to have to do something a little bit more clever. And I think they've just been really unlucky with some of their utility, not catching them in garage, for example, with the recon dart. But for that to happen so many rounds in a row, it's just really unfortunate for MLT. But well played by NYX. I think this is what helped them yesterday. I think moving forward, if they want to keep this going at a 2-0, this is the kind of momentum that they're going to have to continue going into the next game, just keeping MLT off their guard and, you know, messing with their mental a bit, making them doubt themselves and being almost a little bit afraid of what to do next.
Yeah, it's always that mental game. But you also, I guess, gotta kind of consider that this is just NYX's map pick for the time being. So maybe MLT stands a chance at coming back. We'll see what our panel has to say about that. Tash and Ref, tell us what's gonna happen.
Thank you very much, Quack and Victoria. Let's talk a little bit about that game. Honestly, I think it was absolutely banger seeing that game, especially after seeing, again, the Legends play it one more time. Now, talking about that game just now, it did seem like a good start for NYX, and it just seemed that way. It did seem after a while that MLT started to really figure out what exactly is going on in terms of like patterns. But you really gotta give it to NYX. Their mid-round adjustments just phenomenal. It's really hard for MLT to really figure out what to expect from this team. And when you have these situations where the players are playing these really insane off angles and you cannot predict where it's gonna come from, that's when the first sign of trouble shows.
Exactly, and I feel like that more brutish approach on the side of MLT was quite effective on that defending end, and honestly to equalize that first half 6-6, just because they were finding NYX as NYX was transitioning to a more post-plan oriented stance. But the moment that they needed to just be a little more coordinated and refined with their hits on that attacking side, NYX was just super prepared. They let Piety loose. I think Piety actually started getting super comfy when those lurks became that much more, I guess, prominent. And you know what? With Con landing that knife kill, it just kind of awakened a little bit of fight energy in me, you know? Sometimes I love the more cerebral strats in the game, but sometimes you just gotta, you know, heave that knife above your head and stick it as deep as you can into your opponent. And you know what? Sometimes good old combat sports is the way to go. But that
Good
being
old
said,
mental warfare, honestly, when you think about it. It's just, I don't know, I just start to see it to go downhill there. They start to struggle.
Yeah.
They couldn't really figure out how to stop the speed, this momentum coming in from NYX. And NYX, you notice the more they play, the better they go. Especially from Khan, from Delbisky, from Somebody One. As soon as you see these three come online, they were sort of unstoppable. Shuni, just all she has to do is just enable her teammates, and they're already on the site running. They're the kind of Julius or teammates that you want. Very proactive, very aggressive. Piety as well on top of that. When you see her lurks, her rotations, her timings have been massive. 13-7. It looked like a struggle toward the end of map 1 and the beginning of the second half. I'm so sorry about that. But then toward the end, it was all just downhill from there and uphill for NYX.
you know, Quack and Victoria actually pointed it out that NYX had such great control over their economy, whether it be the credits or just the shuffling of ultimates. It never seemed like they ran out of money from, I guess, their belly stashes. Maybe NYX is part kangaroo. I don't know.
Wow.
But
not the
with
Doraemon pocket?
Oh yeah, well that's still a marsupial. I think they were talking about it yesterday too, about how marsupials can put stuff in their
The
pouch.
Tasmanian
Tiger.
Tiger, yeah. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem at all. But with that being said, right, again, MLT, they were somewhat hinging off of all that muscle and off all that just, again, direct contact heavy play style that just kind of got segmented on their attacking side. Again, we had NYX Kyosei be very, very prepared. And again, Con just kind of going like this, you know? And like, yeah, yes, absolutely, yes. Look at my whole ascent. Oh no, I squeezed the door. Never mind. Anyway, so it's okay, Tosh. You don't have to worry about it. Anyways,
while we
it's a
recover
statement.
from whatever that was,
it was a statement, you know? It was Con's statement.
we are gonna go for a quick break. When we come back, more VCT Game Changers APAC. Would love to see what MLT has to answer for NYX.
Show me what you got. Down, up, back, up, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, up, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, God. Ain't no reason to back down, so step it up. God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back,
Got the money in the bank. Hit you with the the money in the bank. Got the money in the bank, 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 bank. Got the money in the bank.
Hit you with the 808.
Hit you with the. Hit you with the bank. Hit you with the. Hit you with the 808. Hit you with the. Hit you with the 808. Bang to the break, bang to the break, bang to the break, bang, 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 bang. I'm a boss, yeah, you know that I'm finna shine. Got the money in the bank.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the VCT Game Changers Asia Pacific LCQ Day 2. This first series has been incredibly banger. While we see the return of the legends to the scene, the newer gen, alongside Delbisky of course, is showing us what they can offer in their fine cuisine cooking.
Oh, now I'm hungry. Like, why would you say that? Like,
I mean,
wow.
they literally prepped the meal, they cut it off, they chopped it up with a knife and everything.
Let them cook, basically.
cook,
and
yeah.
Again, with NYX Kyosei having a wonderful logo and again the greatest of
All time.
clutches. Oh well, yeah, the greatest logo of all time and just a wonderful performance as of the last 2 days. Plus their adjustments on Haven has really proven to be quite a problem for any team that chooses to oppose them. Now in Fracture, potentially this could be a different look for MLT because again they might have something prepared for this Tash, but NYX, we talked about how they can somewhat anchor on their fundamentals and just kind of play off the adjustment game
Yeah.
is still a problem.
Yeah, I think that for NYX is about the understanding and the chemistry the team has. Like if you see how they play, it's as though if they move together, they have this crossfire potential, and they're so fluid in that mid-round adjustments. It's just so fun to watch, and they keep breaking MLT over and over again. As soon as MLT think they find an answer, boom, NYX says, no you didn't, we have a different answer to this. What are you talking about? But talking about Fracture is a little bit more set play. Of course, it will mean more protocols. It might suit MLT, but the question is, how is NYX going to be dealing with that? Both teams have a very aggressive sort of play, and you can see it from both sides. But the question is, who can come up on top? Who can outplay who?
Exactly. And again, it's just that game of pretty much trades of how we can adjust to you and how you can adjust to us has been the name of the meta for, again, the longest time. And NYX Kyosei definitely being very, very true to that. I am quite curious what they might do for Fracture, because if I'm not mistaken, they had a Fracture game yesterday as their closer, right? So maybe some of their data is already out and about, and MLT picked up again, just data in general, some habits on how they're gonna rotate. Might just add a little bit more of a layer to their plan, but again, NYX kind of closing out that first map with a knife is quite a statement, Tash. In fact, it might rattle MLT.
I don't know what to expect on Fracture. And honestly, since it's so set play heavy, I mean, again, aggression will be the name of the game here from both the teams. So I can already see that this map will be perfect for both these teams. The question now is, I think we had this chat in break just now about how Eluwu as well as the rest of the team seem to be a little bit disjointed in how they approach a site, how they set Eluwu a little bit to the front, and then they will get separated either by getting cut off because of utility, or even cut off because they're getting stopped in the middle of those rotations. So whether or not they can figure out the timing better or to work with Eluwu's speed would be key, because honestly, Eluwu, when she is prepped, when she is enabled, she can really bring those massive hits to the table. We've seen K4 with those multi-frags. We've seen Envious with some really impressive big frags and some off angles as well. But sometimes when you see those things happen, is you're always going to see NYX answering back with an even bigger impact to just really disable or just disqualify whatever impact they've put on in the I would say the beginning of the round.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, right? Alu is a natural playmaker, and that's why she can look a little disjointed from the rest of her team. But once she does pay off, it automatically, or not really automatically, but there's a very, very high chance that that's going to translate into a round win, paired with MLT's just ability to duel and trade as cleanly as they can whenever it presents itself, is something that NYX have to respect, and they have been respecting that. They've, again, gathered enough of that in that first half of Haven. And the second half, we talked about it, just the adjustments starting from the ground up, super mighty impressive. Although I feel like it's that slight refinement that puts NYX over MLT at the moment. Maybe Fracture is the map where they're gonna fix some of those issues and smoothen out whatever operation they're trying to get onto, and maybe stretch this into a 3-map series.
I'm really hoping for that, because watching these two teams duke it out looks very, very fun. Let's talk a little bit about utility usage. I feel like right now for NYX, their utility usage has been, I wouldn't say the most intentional. Like, I would say it's very fluid and very dependent on the situation. It's very different to MLT, where they have a set protocol on how exactly to approach a site or approach a retake by putting down those utilities. So it's two different ways, but I think that because NYX is just so adaptable, that's the problem with MLT, because they're very, like, I would say, mechanical in certain rounds. Regardless, let's have a look at the agent select for Fracture. I'm really curious to see what exactly do these teams have in mind when it comes to their cuisines, especially for a Fracture. Which country is Fracture in?
I'm not sure, but you know what? That was a wonderful point that you brought up. I love that there is quite a bit of, I would say, dichotomy in their philosophies, but I have to agree with how NYX is using their utility. You know, the river will eventually win over the boulder.
Yeah.
And it's been eroding MLT ever since that side swap. It doesn't look like there's too much variation on this. We talked about Delbisky and how lethal that chamber is, so NYX is going to be fielding that. The Sova, I feel like, is still quite a curious pick, because a lot of the teams, when they do pick Sova, it's very deliberate on how they want to play the Fracture map. And how they want to set up for that longer, more drawn out post plant.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to talk about, like semantics, like yesterday, I'm gonna be real here for somebody one, I didn't really see that huge impact for her on that Neon on this map. It was all Delbisky, in my opinion. Delbisky and Shuni with enabling. For somebody, it's all about just getting onto the site, making that space, and that's it. She's out of the game. That's what she can bring in with her speed. Now, coming into the side of MLT, I think that we can already see that it's going to be a lot of lurk heavy sort of plays happening. But for aggression, I still prefer what NYX has on the plate to offer.
Yeah, it's just that much more refined and that much more thorough. But I feel like our wonderful duo over at the casting desk has a lot to say about this, Dash.
That's right. So on to you, Quack and Victoria. Quacktoria, take it away.
All right, I could go with that. I don't know, what do you think?
She
Do you like
could have
that?
said Chubby Quack or like Quack Ninja or something. I don't know.
Ninja Quack. Hello, Ninja Quack.
Maybe.
To answer Ra's question, the location of this map is New Mexico. Weirdly, I know that because we asked the PaperX owner where he would want to get married on, and he said Fracture because the zip lines look fun, which brings to mind lots of things that happen on that zip line. It's where they study Radianite according to the lore, so that's why there's that giant thing in the middle.
It's a lab.
Body! Oh my god, finally!
Wait, where is this?
It's on Fracture. In New Mexico, Diablo
clearly.
Canyon.
But which part? And it's holding a little like bayonet knife. That's I never knew that this was here.
He holds a knife. I always called it poo-poo money. The tax money. Anyway, Som, I think on the Neon yesterday showed how crucial creating that space with this Neon was, and I think that allowed the rest of our team to flood into sight. So I think, carrying forward with the chamber Neon
Spike
combi
planted.
worked really well for NYX, and I'm expecting to see that be really impactful in this Fracture map today, too.
Hopefully, especially in the retakes too. But right now, I mean, it's just a quick take from MLT. They completely smoked everything off. Here comes NYX.
Creeping into that smoke. They're already defusing.
Are you serious? Wait. She stuck it up. She's going for it all the way through. Vic, what?
What? They're defending is what they're doing. Look at NYX doing all this defending. Where did that shock dart come from? Did you see that?
Not really. I mean, I assume it might have been like possibly caught or something, but it's just the way that they were positioned. The sky smoke kept to kind of cover Som as she went in fully for that defuse, and MLT just had no idea.
Yeah, they gave it back to them pretty quickly. NYX now has Spectres in hand, and they do know they have a gun advantage here, and usually with that gun advantage, they push out.
All right. Not quite connecting, but still, it's information for NYX, and now they know that there's so many players around A. Heidi is here to receive them.
Yep. Playing in the sandbox now.
Wrong time to pull out a knife.
You know what? They're getting hits with that classic.
Almost out.
And the sheriff now. This is incredible. This is really good turnaround.
Yeah, they're losing control of this right now.
Gotta go.
All right. Well, I like this.
Running. Cool runnings by Som here.
Running, and the way that she used the relay bolt to open up the door, create a bit of space, keeps one of those players trapped behind. But the major thing right now is that Sam is down to 5 HP. She might have a Spectre, but you're not going to be able to hold on to that for long. Som still has her fast lane as well, and just quick rotations coming through. Spike might be down, but I don't know if Elu can hold this all on her own. I might even prefer if Sam swapped her Spectre over onto Elu, but here he comes.
Player standing.
Oh!
Thrifty.
You seem
What?
shocked. You seem surprised. Are you you surprised? I'm extremely surprised. I was expecting, you know, that neon spray to come in because that's all it would have taken to take out Shuni. But they completely lost it this round, which is interesting. It's almost like they're playing a little bit too loose here, and they're probably gonna have to tighten things up if they want to keep control of Fracture.
Maybe some slight overconfidence, perhaps. I really am not sure. I mean, it's just logically speaking, on paper, you would think, all right, 5 HP, no way she survives. But as soon as Sam hops up, Sam lands the perfect headshot. It was a thrifty win for MLT. Now we're tied 1-1. But economy for NYX is ultimately broken.
Easily taking control of site. No one but Sam in towers. And a classic. She can't do very much.
Player standing.
Not at all.
Delbisky, all she can do is try to get as many hits as possible. Not getting any of her headhunters. No heads were hunted in round 3.
Yeah, all those bullets completely whizzing past. But again, that's why these first few rounds, like you always talking about, Vic, they are so important, especially to players who might be a little bit new to Game Changers or new to competitive Valorant, because momentum is such a big thing. And now, you know, we're looking at an MLT that's holding on to rifles, NYX with light shields. MLT actually stands a really good chance at seizing the momentum in this game.
Oh my god, Sam just sliding into a Spectre headshot.
Oh my goodness, and now Kyosei from behind as well, pushing out a tree. That's more rifles collected by MLT. And perfectly like I was talking about, the momentum onto MLT's side. I mean, you could see that this strat from Sam sprinting into bench, it's kind of inspired by what happened between NYX and Nana and Friends yesterday. But this MLT is a whole different team.
Yeah.
Enemy remaining.
MLT is looking really comfortable on the site right now. Wait,
Teleport's ready.
the timing could have gone really badly. Luckily, turned around just in time to see Delbisky peek up her head.
Ow!
I love the sound effect. Oh,
Okay.
12 HP doesn't deter Delbisky in that first hit.
And it's just, once again, gives MLT such momentum. NYX having lost, like, what, two or 3 rounds in a row now? 3 rounds in a row. They might be able to cough up a half buy or 2, but again, not an ideal situation. And it just inspires so much confidence for MLT as a team. This is their map pick, and if they can keep this up, we might be looking at a map 3. A team that, you know, was scrounged up with players from other big teams now all coming together for this LCQ run. They might not have the best coordination at times, but if they can keep this up, it would improve so much.
Yep, you can see why they picked this map, Fracture. While they're all scrounged up orphans from other teams, you know, this is their home.
Spike planted.
I like that. Still curious to know what MLT means, but right now it means just Kyosei anchoring down tree. Nobody's going to be able to make it through. And the rest of them exploring through defender spawn. They have to go in for some peeks, but...
Flawless.
Wow, that's just truly flawless.
Yeah, going into this in a flawless round. Welcome to Fracture.
MLT's Fracture. Ooh.
Yeah. MLT stands for Fracture.
There's no F in there, Vic.
Right
Just
there.
use your imagination. It maybe in a different language.
If you rearrange the lines, Vic is not very good at her alphabet.
Excuse me. We're gonna have an interview after this, and we're gonna find out.
She's gonna hit me. But here's the thing. NYX now having saved up. It's Delbisky with our operator. This is where we saw her shine yesterday on Ascent as well. And we could see that impact once more.
Prepared for hellfire.
Hellfire comes down.
Oh no! Dubisky got spammed too.
Spike planted.
Off your feet!
Rolling Thunder comes in.
One enemy
Trying to
remaining.
give NYX as much
Last
space as
player
possible, but
standing.
2 are still up shooting. Does not win that round. Sapphire keeps MLT on a really good roll.
And it just keeps on rolling. And the years, they don't stop coming. They don't stop coming. And they don't stop coming. But it really is just, I mean, look at how the round played out. Yes, a good bit of an early start coming with Delbisky and her operator. But as soon as that contact was made, Sam instantly went in for the wall bang. Everyone else started to figure a way to go into sight. Once the spike was down, NYX wasn't really able to make their way in. Yes, they pushed out from drop and everything, but now, even with the overdrive from Som, they walk straight into MLT. And look at how ready these girls are.
All their ults are up online. Som already dropped hers and dropped along with it. Delbisky making sure her tour de force is hitting as many as
Spike down
possible.
B.
This could be it for NYX to turn it around.
Hopefully. Lockdown though.
Oh, is she gonna get deep?
The orbital strike has been completely evaded.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, this is not good, Vic.
Nope. Well, not good for NYX. It's great for MLT.
Right there.
6 rounds in a row, consecutive rounds. It is
And
a attacker-sided map,
You should run.
globally.
True.
Interesting though, it tends to be a defender-sided map in Game Changers, but right now MLT is playing it, you know, in a style that we see from international stages, which is great considering this is the last round's qualifiers and all of these teams. Oh my God, this poor Tactibear in the arm. But all these teams are competing
Hey,
to go
it's
to
a
Sao
lab.
Paulo.
Maybe,
It is a
maybe
Oh, this is awful. This is.
he's got
animal
Radianite in
cruelty.
him, so you need to extract it.
But you have to do it like that.
Yeah.
It's like that's awful. It reminds
He's
me of
gonna-
Toy Story.
You might
The little
escape, so you
aliens.
gotta... Oh, yeah.
The claw.
The claw. And also, timeout for NYX Kyosei. I mean, yes, you know, it's great for MLT with the win, but what if NYX Kyosei loses, then Fifi's gonna be sad.
Look at Fifi. Look at Fifi.
Isn't
Look
that
at Fifi's face.
It's so derpy.
Do not call Fifi derpy. That is the face of Fifi is actually NYX's coach. I think
Oh,
that's
there we go.
who Fifi is. Source of inspiration. That timeout is
Standing
a
ahead.
Fifi call.
You ever see that episode of Rick and Morty with the Snowball?
Yeah, Snowball. He's a genius. And that
That's-
showstopper taking Delbisky out, which is really crucial coming into 8th side because it's usually the chamber holding the fort. They got plenty of info, knowing that the site is theirs for the taking.
Placing swarm grenade.
Still, though, 3 players. And it's just MLT and their decisive aggression. Now reading some of these situations. Trades coming through. Envious trying to hold it down. And she manages to fend off anyone pushing out of A main. It's all down to Piety coming out from Sands. And it's the off-angle held as well. MLT, their post-plant positions to 7-1. And the timeout impact not felt by NYX and their coach Fifi, I guess.
So, MLT, by the way, does not stand for fracture. I don't know why you said that, Quack. That was weird.
Oh.
It stands for militant.
back. Out of charges.
Militant?
Militant esports.
I
And
see.
they are showing exactly that sort of military level control on fracture right now.
Especially when you got these players, you know, coming out from all these other teams joining MLT. For NYX, though, again, I mean, yeah, I totally was the one that said MLT stands for fracture. My bad.
Spike down.
Oh, well coordinated coming from NYX's side.
Ooh!
One enemy remaining.
We're just letting loose with all of these ultimates.
Well, it pays off because for the first time, MLT is on their back foot with no one but Aphrodite and 7 HP.
They're trying to catch her with shock darts too. 7 HP.
Yeah.
Trying to stay alive like this is so difficult.
Oh, we've seen it happen. Oh. She didn't expect Salmon to be right there next to their chamber. But NYX, you know, shouldn't be playing it too dangerously at this point. You have to play it pretty safe.
Working together like that, it's a good pick from K, but still good damage coming out from NYX as well. That's how that timeout really came into fruition as well. I think finally making the correct read, contesting that early A main control, starting things off with a bit of a sky smoke and the flashes coming out from Shuni, and just Delbisky landing some shots at the same time. I mean, we need to see that return to form from NYX, but just as they suffer a loss, MLT, the militants, Vic, they're calling a timeout of their own.
Yeah, really curious, right? That with 7 rounds here, it's a 2-7 score line. They are not going to take any risks right now. They know they need to win this map. Otherwise, it's going to be over for them. So surely at this point, on the attacker side, they're pulling something out of the strat book right now. And I'm really excited to see what kind of play they'll be doing next.
Yeah, they've got an orbital strike and a hunter's fury as well, so very useful for executing onto a side, or maybe even selling a bit of a fake. It's up to MLT and what they want to pull off, but at the very least right now, potentially setting up for some kind of a B split.
Yeah, that's what it looks like right now. They're already doing something a little bit different now in this split push. They're going hard into arcade.
And just trading fault lines as well. But already that pressure is felt by NYX, so they're all rotating over to the B site. Now, if you look at NYX's positioning as well, you've got Delbisky watching the back. So in case she needs to push over onto A site, she still has her trip up around Dish. It's good positioning and it's safe enough. MLT, though, cutting noise. So it's a lot of question marks in NYX's heads right now.
Yeah, that's right. You can see Envious getting ready to drop down those smokes.
Right there.
MLT executes onto site. Walks
One
into
enemy
Shuni's
remaining.
crosshairs. Spikes,
Spike down
drops.
B.
NYX was ready for this.
Very much so. I don't know if Sandfire's ready for that operator. And with that, MLT, despite the timeout, despite, you know, an attempt at cutting noise and maybe selling a bit of a fake, it does not pay off. NYX just hedged their bets and they guessed correctly.
Yeah, they read that really well.
So sticking back into it. I mean, they still have their ultimates, and again, I mean, these ultimates not necessarily just used for executes, also great in post-plant scenarios. Maybe that's what MLT wants. A bit of early contact. We often see Luwu pushing back in towards arcade again. But here is Som with an operator of her own.
Yeah, with 2 rounds left to go in this half,
A fine
NYX could make this look pretty even.
Shot from the back, though, and that's something that they didn't expect this time.
Spike
No one was there
planted.
to resist that arcade or bench
Player
take.
standing.
And now Luna just trying to fight back. Able to take down Delbisky, but Shuni eliminates yet another player.
Shooting, gonna do whatever she can.
Oh no.
It's already off to a bad start on the very end. Trying to run away with the op, but Luwu doesn't let her get away.
And it's
Last
an
round in the
8-3, Vic. I mean, definitely doesn't feel good for NYX Kyosei. But if MLT can secure one more round, we'll have a 9-3. And considering these ultimates that MLT are still sitting on, this could be a really explosive round. Then again, though, like 4 alt points on this map in what was it, Vic? New Mexico? Shuni is 1 point away from her Rolling Thunder.
You can see Som is pushed far up into B with her op. But the drone's gonna catch her.
Did she just dodge the dart from the owl drone? She pushed up front.
Yeah. She jumped past it. Was hoping to get a kill. Didn't really work out. She really killed the heck out of that Kimmy turret, though.
Well, the major target is Luna, though. Heidi will be able to do the damage, but unfortunately, damage felt by NYX as well. Now coming back into it, trying to resist Sapphire. Khan
is just unstoppable. That breach.
One enemy remaining.
That breach mine didn't do anything to her.
No kidding. And that's going to be MLT just continuously pushing up front no matter whoever is standing in their faces, even if it's Som with an operator. A great play, and Luna just pushing up with it as well. And that's why she's top fragging right now, Vic.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is not the worst scoreline. You know, everyone talks about the 9-3 curse. But you know what? Let's go over to our panelists who are going to break this all down.
Thank you very much, Quacktoria. Let's talk a little bit about that particular matchup. I was honestly very entertained watching these two teams duke it out. I think both teams have the same idea in mind when it comes to approaching this map. Aggression from both sides, but I think that MLT just does it better. Like Victoria and Quack said it, they do know how to keep their spaces and areas in check, militant style. They know how to hold it. They will always, if you always notice how they played, they will always have a chunk of their players, maybe 3-2 or a 4-1 going on, where 4 is on site, or 1, which is going to be Luna holding on the flank, making sure that they don't get caught off guard. Their off angles have been very clear. There was only one round number 9, that they were really caught off guard. But after that, it was just back to business as usual for MLT.
I feel like on the side of NYX Kyosei, they're overcommitting a lot of their resources on one side of the map and not really playing reactively the way they did on Haven. And I feel like it's giving MLT the reins to just kind of do whatever they want. I understand that NYX Kyosei are relying a lot on somebody's firepower and mobility to have faster, or rather fast reactions for, again, those rotations if they need, but they're also kind of relying on Delbisky's ability to anchor and get that tour de force going. But ultimately, in this first half, it just felt somewhat lacking, Tash.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit hard to play that tour de force on the attacking side. I'm gonna be real with you. So unless they could actually get that plant down, it's gonna be a problem. And I think in most situations, the problem was for them to get onto site to begin with. There are so many moments where NYX were just not able to get in, and the aggression, I say, the more proactive plays coming in from MLT. And MLT has just been doing such a great job of reading them like a book. For now, as they go into attacking side, this might be a little bit more easier for them, but whether or not they'll be able to bring it back is the question that I want to throw to Quack and Victoria.
Yeah, reading them like a book, listening to them like a podcast. MLT's got it. They own Fracture right now. It's really going to be up to NYX to bring up that raw firepower that we saw in the last map. And now that we're switching sides, they're going to be on attacker side. This is their time to shine, especially with Som on the Neon. Obviously, Neon literally being the fastest agent. I want to see a lot of fast movements. And look at this Tactic Bear. There's another one just hanging out by the PC. How many Tactic Bears are there on Fracture? This is like, if you guys could guess, you win $100 from Tash Bunny.
What?
This is official.
Just throwing that out there. You're gonna have to go look at Tash up and hound her for it. But I just love how like that Tactivair is just barely tall enough to go over the desk. It's like a little gremlin with this monitor right in front. It's like, yeah, I'm playing Valorant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like your kid brother peering over the computer, which usually your kid brother tends to be pretty good, even if
like
they're
JoJo
barely
Susato.
looking. Exactly. It's like he's a beast. He's a beastie player, much like how MLT is playing right now.
It's a Rizzler, that one. But yeah, MLT, they're doing such a good job, and they're so disciplined and safe right now with how they're defending the map. It's up to NYX to push in, but you can clearly see that they're rethinking their decisions. They've been blocked off by the fire grenade as well. MLT just holding it down. Envious. What positioning? 2 kills, and now it's down to Khan.
Yeah, this is a complete reversal of what happened previously. Exactly on B site. But now, you know, even on defender side, they are just so effortlessly defending B site, covering all the angles perfectly, coordinating with their teammates, trusting each other. You can see a lot of trust coming into play here, that they know that they have each other's backs.
Right? It was just 3 players on B site, Vic, and like, they didn't even budge. They didn't move a muscle. They were just hiding up like on B tower, one on site, Envious around generator holding the off angle. And it's that trust. Next round though, they've got some guns now. A couple of ghosts, however.
Yeah, they didn't
That
buy
I'm
up.
curious about.
That, which is a testament to how confident they are about defending their sites right now, finding more value in purchasing utility or saving up for full buys on the 3rd round of the second half.
There.
That, I guess that makes fiscal sense. Like CNTS. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Vic hates me so much right now.
And it, look, and all you need is a bulldog.
Enemy remaining.
Bite a few legs, bite a few heads.
Certainly chews him up. Delbisky down to a quarter of her health left.
Oh, she's gonna get flanked too. Delbisky is just not in a good place right now. This is gonna hurt one way or another.
I just want to picture the comms, you know? MLT's like, all right, just make noise. Just stay there. Just stay there. Kay's like, I'm coming. I'm coming. Just keep her there. Luna kills her anyway. 11-3.
Yeah, this is looking like MLT's map. What is it gonna take for this to reverse? Yesterday, we saw that Neon creating so much space, opening up the site, giving Delbisky that room to peg as many as possible, and that's just not happening right now. But they do have rifles at hand. Maybe this is it. It has to be it.
Has to be.
I'll show them.
But like you were talking about, Vic, all right, they had a couple of ghosts from the previous round, MLT. Now we see a Vandal, we see a Guardian. It's quite a bit of resistance that NYX has to face, so they gotta be careful. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. Nope.
Yeah, Luna's just feeling her aim right now, getting that third kill.
Remaining.
And of course, it's gonna be an ace.
Jesus!
Delbisky stops her in her tracks from a beautiful ace, but
Zephyr's dead.
no.
I have the
Okay,
spike.
Delbisky continues to stay alive. All she wants to do is isolate these fights, but she can't do it. Aphrodite taking her down with just a Guardian.
She's the only one who's somewhat able to, come up in these moments. And it's often because the entry fraggers are instantly dismissed. I mean, look at how sharp Luna is.
Enemy remaining.
But I also think Luna's just fuming mad right now. Just like, where's my ace?
Yeah, she's probably upset. How I feel about your bad puns.
Thank you.
About fiscal sensibility puns.
I'm really proud of it.
Play, let's play.
Okay. I won't take that away from you. Yeah, good. All right, Som finally getting that first entry kill. This could be... No, it's not going to be it. Aluwu getting 3 critical shots there, bringing their team down to just 2 people on Sands.
1 enemy remaining.
Down to 2-on-1. It's going to end
Defenders win.
with a 13-3 scoreline. Just as soon as we started, we ended with MLT. Great reads, great holes, and great shots. I mean, felt all across the board, especially with a player like Luna, who is popping off on Sova.
Yeah. I think they continue to show both on defense and attacker sided that MLT was well prepared for Fracture. This is why they chose Fracture. We own this. We're talking about how they were orphaned from all these other teams, banded together and protected their territory, and they did well on this. Now, we are going to go into our third map of Ascent, and at this point, this will be interesting because they're pretty evenly matched on Ascent, like so many other teams in the LCQ Game Changers. But before that, let's talk a bit more about that Fracture breakdown. This is probably why they 13-0 yesterday as well. But let's go over to Tash and Raph. Tash, are you giving 100?
Sorry, what? I don't know. How about I'm giving $100 to myself because I love myself, but that isn't why we're here right now. We're gonna be talking about that game, and I think it's really exciting to talk about this one in particular because it does make me understand what exactly transpired in the best of 3 yesterday between Be My Team and MLT. And for me personally, I really think that if MLT understands a map and knows how to play that map, they know how to play that map 100%. It's really hard to break down their protocols on both attack and defense. But on a map like Haven, that I don't think that they have put as much prep into like they did for Fracture, you start to see those cracks come through, which shows me why they had a best of 3, where it's like a 3-13 and then a 13-0. Regardless, coming into that particular match, I think that when we talk about this team in particular, again, set plays is the name of the game. They know how exactly to play it, how they move together, how they trade together. And if you see how they hold those angles when they push forward, it's going to be those little angles where if one person is playing forward, another player is holding the other side, right? It's just so easy to trade. You're not going to expect another one to be close by just to sort of trade you out. And I'm really annoyed at Raph right now, just like how Victoria is mad at Quack. So, I'm just going to let him talk now.
No, I agree with all the points that you've said. I feel like I lost my own train of thought there, but one of the biggest things that MLT have to find is that middle ground for all their maps because they did look incredibly impressive on this Fracture pick. And Vic and Quack actually pointed it out. They're operating on this map at the highest of levels. And NYX, very uncharacteristic for them to, once again, to parse that information very, very slowly. We were kind of expecting Delbisky to just be a little bit of a terror on that defensive side, but no.
I just want to say that yesterday, a lot of their success on that map was because Delbisky was able to anchor. And in this situation, she wasn't able to. She was shut down very early so many times. And even then, when she was the last man standing, she was probably on the other side. And in this situation as well, we talked about how, somebody didn't really give that impact, right? And I think in this situation, it's even worse because she wasn't even able to make it on the site itself. So whatever it is that NYX did yesterday, MLT probably saw it and knew how exactly to deal with it.
I also feel like, especially on that attacking side, yes, there was a sense of urgency on the side of NYX as a whole, but we kind of lost all those positive qualities they showed on the Haven attacking side, which is being very thorough. A lot of the utility use just seemed very rushed. The trades were almost non-existent in that second half. And MLT, as long as they have prep time, they're very Batman-esque, can beat anybody and pretty much any team. Now, the question is, we're going to go on a map like Ascent, which is a map where anyone can really take on anyone also. It's just the nature of the beast. And Luna mirroring Con. Actually, Con was an absolute mini-boss in that first Haven. And now we have the menace that is Luna on Fracture.
Yeah, I mean, for Con, I don't think that her performance dwindled at all in the second map. It's just that she wasn't given those windows of opportunity at all to react. The speed that came through from MLT, as well as how they can easily pincer and choke them on so many different areas of the map, was definitely phenomenal. That's just how quickly they can move together as a team on that particular map itself. Luna was absolutely insane. You could see that it was all that confidence coming through. When they feel themselves in terms of aim, they can really, really go far. Yes, there were shining moments from maybe Delbisky or even was it Okan, but I don't think sometimes when you see those big impacts happen in the beginning of the round, it wasn't really enough to translate or change the course of a round. Regardless, that's it for map number 2, series number 1. We are gonna be going to Ascent map 3, whether or not it's gonna be NYX or even MLT's pick. You know what? I think for Raph, he just wants to see Fifi's face, so we're gonna go take a break before he loses it. See you in a bit.
One enemy remaining. remaining. Spike. Spike down. You should run. One enemy remaining.
3 gone.
One enemy remaining. Spike down.
Hey.
One enemy remaining.
Well, Victoria says MLT means fractures. There's no S for this team as they keep the dream alive. 1-1 is the score we're looking right now between NYX Kyosei versus MLT. And we are gonna go to Ascent.
Okay, Ascent, yes. We're definitely going to Ascent. Lovely map. No. Jokes aside, guys, I think Ascent is the perfect like middle ground for what we were talking about, right? Because
Yeah.
MLT is a team that's really just super hot or super cold, and with their performances, considering the matches they played yesterday, is also quite a telling sign. Ascent will hopefully temper everything and just find that balance, that middle ground that I feel like is something that they're still working on.
Yeah, I mean, like, seeing these two games played today by MLT really gave me an understanding on how exactly this team works. When they do well on a certain map, you can see a very well-rounded, clean idea on how exactly they want to, play on the first and second half. But on maps they haven't really prepped, we're going to see something that's coming in like Haven. They can't really adjust in that mid-round. So I would definitely say in terms of mid-round adaptations, I would still give it to NYX. But when it comes to mechanical plays, set plays that are really good and clean, it's going to go to MLT. Now for Ascent, I would say that just like Haven, it's just one of those OG maps that I think for a long time a lot of teams have been playing. But the question now is whether or not MLT is very well versed in this map. It is a very defense-sided map. But I think from yesterday, as well as a little bit on Fracture, what we've noticed is that for MLT, especially rounds they're super aggressive, most of the first contact that happens is mostly very skirmishy. It's not really an all-out in one particular area.
And, you mentioned it earlier. I feel like the slight edge for just mechanical prowess perhaps is going to go to MLT. And with that advantage, I think they tried to isolate as many fights as they can, get Aluwu going, because that operator is also such an important part of their strategy. Maybe potentially for Ascent also, because this map can be dominated by the operator and, perhaps the Odin at a few times. But my question is, how are we going to see MLT approach this map? You talked about how NYX can be very adaptive as a team. Are they going to completely ignore mid and just try to fill out the side lanes and pressure from there? Or are they going to go the opposite end and pivot off that initial mid contact and maybe branch out towards tree, maybe towards tiles, so on and so forth?
That is a question that we are gonna have to wait and see, because again, mid can be very critical. It allows you access either toward market on B or toward the backside all the way to A. And honestly, getting control of the entire area gives you almost full control of backside A. But we'll have to wait and see how exactly they decide to do or go in for that initial hits. Because again, with Luna on that Sova, it's a very different approach on how exactly she plays Sova. It's a little bit more lurky, she plays back a little bit more, and she can definitely go aggressive if she wants to. And we already know the impact of value of a Sova can bring on an Ascent. But let's see the agent select, and this is going to determine what exactly we can expect from both teams. Now, if we look at the bigger VCT stages, it's going to be very, I don't know, same sort of comp throughout. Yeah. Raph, yeah.
I have no words. But again, it's really one of those maps where quite a few things are already set in stone, and we really see the differences in playstyle just because of how established everything is. For example, we might see how Luna and actually this time around Shuni try to use their recon. Some Sovas, they really prefer that early info. Some like to back up and get that recon dart to delay that initial push or to kind of like soften that initial blow, right? For example, on A side, some Sovas like to throw that dart as soon as the dash comes in, so they can maybe potentially find off those second, third ins without the mobility.
I really think that for this particular matchup, it's gonna be a game of outplays. It's gonna be, I would say, a skill diff, if you may. Again, between these two teams, if you see their style of play, it's very, very similar. It's just a little bit more on who's a little bit more fluid and who's a little bit more set play. I'm not too sure if set play is a thing on Ascent, because it's all about that mid-round adjustment. It's all about finding the weaker side compared to trying to fully commit on the stronger side. Regardless, we're gonna have Quectoria tell us the tale of Ascent. Take it away. I want my $100.
She wants her $100.
No, so do we. So does chat. You guys want $100. You want Tash's $100 specifically. In fact, every time
$100, you get a kill in Valorant.
I think every time there's a set play on a set, you get $100 from Tash because she said there are no set plays on a set.
I mean, we gotta see what happens.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're gonna see it this game. I hope so. NYX, actually, I do recall seeing a couple of interesting plays from NYX, in particular yesterday, NYX and Fifi. But MLT, this is, if they can carry forth a lot of the ideas that they had from Fracture, that same energy, that same coordination onto Ascent, they could be the ones closing out with the win on this. NYX, however, on defense, they play Ascent really well. Taxi Bear in Boathouse, we were wondering where this guy was yesterday, and I think it's so interesting. Yesterday we were staring into his eyes, and today the observers are showing the backside of Taxi Bear in all these maps.
He's a little peeper. He's looking through a certain spot on the map.
I can't use
But same thing's happening coming out from NYX. Khan this time on KO. And it's just Psalm going in for a quick peek or two. Elu immediately dismisses them though, and Vic, we've got a B site that is potentially open. We still got Shuni in Boathouse.
Shuni's in Boathouse with Taxi Bear, defending it valiantly.
Hold the door. Alright, she's able to do it for a second, but still, MLT coming back in with full force, feeling that confidence from the map which they just won.
Yeah, this is exactly the kind of energy that we want to see flowing from the previous map into this one. This is the same MLT. This is what we're kind of talking about. The MLT seems like they need to warm up a little bit. We saw this yesterday too. That first map yesterday didn't go so well for them, and the next two were domination. And this could be a repeat case. NYX, however, has also shown a lot of aggression throughout the past 2 days. And, you know, they're not the kind of team that's going to back down. They're not going to get cowed by MLT. And as long as they keep that in mind, keep up that confidence, it could go either way.
I kind of like that they don't shy away from these fights. And also, yes, like Ascent, you know, it's always the same composition and everything, but like what Raph said, it really does show you all these different playstyle differences, and it kind of informs you so much about a team. It's like that litmus test. But still, the shooting and both, and we've seen this positioning already. MLT knows how to deal with it.
Yeah, really interesting that they're choosing B site both of these rounds here. The site was really easy for them to capture. Katie still, well, finding one kill.
It's not bad.
With the classic. Hey, yeah, that's right. When it's a Spectre round, it's always really tough. It's pretty rare to get that sort of that eco win.
Yeah. We give her some golf claps, you know, like the tiny, like you sink the golf ball in, and she's like, yeah, tiny claps, yeah.
Tiny finger claps.
Tiny finger claps. What does that look like?
I don't with fingers and like a tiny clap, like tiny. Something that Fifi, like, you know, think of Fifi clapping.
Oh, that would be so adorable. But still, it's gonna be MLT not backing down. Like you mentioned, Vic, they keep pushing through. And Luna with the Sheriff takes down Khan. Of course, the rifles on the rest of them as well. And if this keeps up, it's gonna be that momentum that we saw in Fracture again.
It is so crazy how quickly they took the site with nothing but a recon dart and bulldogs.
It just looks as if NYX are like, I don't know, unfortunately not prepared for it.
They are using exactly what worked for NYX in that first map back against them, just moving so quickly they don't even have time to respond. By the time I can imagine NYX is making any sort of call, it's already over.
Yeah, right, especially when you're trying to defend the A site like this and maybe holding some angles sometimes. You just get met with contact and whatever plan you had before completely falls apart. So that's that perfect start that MLT was looking for. Bonus round 1 and economy in shambles for NYX.
Yeah, their armor is at half buy, that shield.
I think they need $100 from Tash.
I think, yeah, they look like they could get every penny from Tash possible here.
She might have some to spare, and then maybe NYX could like buy up a bit more utility or something.
Yeah, Delbisky is, as a killjoy, doesn't have very much going on right now.
I mean, definitely just trying to block off as much of the side as possible with the nanoswarms. MLT, they're just waiting this out though. Look at them.
Scanning ahead.
Yeah, because they know all NYX has is some utility.
Oh, well, that utility's gone.
Exactly. There's not much. Con has some flashes they could use to their advantage. Some sharp shooting, but it's gonna be a tough one.
And Patey just comes in. I mean, a good way to start things off. You know, it's that frenzy again, picks up the Vandal now. Maybe a slightly better chance. But MLT are so aware of this. They instantly back off into Boathouse. They're buying time, Vic, for Kyosei to sneak up. Maybe not even need it! Envious just does it all!
That's tough. I mean, Patey did eventually get a rifle in her hands, but to no avail. You can see that they're a little bit shaken up. This is, you know, for NYX, they need to overcome that mental at this rate. Because, you know, it's a 1-1 right now. Both of them have showed their strengths on either maps. They're both good on Ascent. With NYX having played Ascent far more often than MLT has during group stages, they actually have more experience on this together as a team.
It's ridiculously incredible. I mean, you might think like MLT again, just touching on the players' backgrounds, Envious and Kyosei from previously SMG, and Kyosei hasn't been playing for quite a while, at least officially. And then you also have Elu from previous teams, Asteria and whatnot, and they're all just coming together, still having that coordination in this LCQ right now. They put in the work and it shows. Con is still sharp though. Tiny bits of damage, but again, damage felt, and now MLT deciding to make a move into A.
Yep, there we go again. Nothing but a recon dart coming into sight.
One enemy remaining.
Oh wow.
Patey finding some kills there. With her rifle, Samfire just trying to hang out by generator. Isolates one of those kills. Flashbang out to no one.
Oh!
I'm built different.
It doesn't get her, but still.
It's ready.
I mean, maybe because... Yeah! Maybe if Delbisky was like crouched or something, but...
The more important thing gets her, so...
Just recorrecting that aim. I mean, what I really liked was Patey, like you mentioned, Vic, it's nothing but a recon bolt, right? But you could already see she was prepared to shoot that down, and that's something that not many teams or players in ranks do, at least. She anticipated where that recon bolt would land and immediately dismissed it, allowing her to find 2 frags, thinned out the numbers a little bit, gave NYX a bit more hope. But then in the final moment still, you got Samfire and she just nails him down.
That recon bolt is everything on Ascent. When Odin's come into play, when you have that many ults up online, that info you get from a recon, that should be the first thing you're trying to kill or block or whatever it is. Not get that info to the other team.
Yeah, right? Just like toss a cloud burst on it sometimes, Oh my god, now I'm just thinking about it. For the next patch, Recon's down to 2 pings, cloud burst doesn't stay as long anymore.
It's tragic. As a Jet main, I am horrified by all of this.
Still though, alright. MLT exploring around a little bit. It buys out so much utility from NYX. I mean, Con Piety, they've spent quite a bit now. And MLT just makes the quick adaptation to push over onto B.
Look at this. They are full W right now. Foot is like pedal to the metal right now. They're pushing into that B site by a market. Luwu looking for those kills. I don't think she knows there are 2 in Boathouse though. She's gonna have to get them both if they get that crossfire set up. If they don't, at least Delbisky gets the trade too.
One enemy remaining.
NYX getting it back into their control.
Aphrodite though, coming from behind now. 15 seconds. Unfortunately, she does not have enough time
10
to
seconds left.
go full clutch Aphrodite. So just going in for some frags right now. Pop Flash is coming through from Khan, and it keeps her away. 1 round on the board for NYX.
I feel like we've seen this before, Quack. This trend, the scoreline. What do you think? You think NYX has what it takes to turn this around? They are.
I'm actually not sure.
They are in defender sided, which is what they're stronger at. Ish.
I mean, statistically on Ascent, it should be defender sided. But remember when they played against Nana and Friends, they just like went full hand, kept on pushing, and it kind of worked.
Yeah.
This time, maybe a little bit different. MLT still
Spike
going
down,
in, but
B.
look at Shuni dancing around these boxes.
She's a dancing queen.
Young and free, looking for more kills. Oh, it's a triple.
She gets 3.
I can't believe, and then now she has her Hunter's Tree because of those 3 kills as well. I mean, maybe Delbisky wasn't quite able to receive them very well. I mean, she did get 1, which was enough. At the same time, I mean, this just signals to MLT that they do kind of need to change their game plan up a little bit, because full W keying does not work right now.
No, you can only do it so many times before the opponent, if wise enough, and NYX definitely is, because that's how they play sometimes too. They catch you in your tracks. They know how to entrap you, so they do need to change up that tempo. The 2 Timmies in one place.
Oh, they're staring at each other.
Yeah. What's up, bro?
Hi.
Hi. Hey, Timmy.
Timmy's gone now, and we're going into the B site.
Back onto B site, trudging over that mud.
One down.
Pop
The
Flash
defending
and
boathouse with their
Spike
lives.
down B.
They're alone.
Last player standing.
And now coming in from behind. It's all up to Envious.
Cover going out.
Envious. Sleeping. And dropping.
Not much that you can do other than drop sometimes.
Well, you could
Especially
kill.
for opponent. I mean, you gotta try. But that angle that Piety was just holding, tiny bits of jiggles coming out from Envious, which was good, but still, I think it revealed her a little bit too much. So when she wanted to slice the pie and check Piety, by that point, Piety already knew where she was coming from.
She got
At the
out.
same time, though,
Pie
I
sliced.
mean, that's the crazy thing about NYX. Their boathouse hold right now is so good. When you have
Yeah.
Piety from the shadows to the back site, extra value. It's like more pies.
So much pie. I love pie. Are you more of a savory or sweet pie kind of guy?
Ooh, it depends. I like shepherd's pie, but I also
Oh.
like some good sweet pies.
Like fruits? Fruit pies?
Yeah. We're fruity in Game Changers.
Yeah.
Elu, though.
You do like those fruits. Lulu.
Elu's trying to be the fruit ninja right now.
Yeah. Slicing up fruits.
Spike planted. You should run.
Hiding in that.
For lockdown.
Heidi, what were you doing? Standing in the open.
One enemy.
We're just trying to play around it. Similar to a boathouse hold. Now we're holding out from hell. And it comes in for the check. Luna from A main. That's all you really needed. MLT now back on the board. Trying to stifle NYX's momentum.
Yeah, but 3-6 is definitely much better than the last map already. NYX could just get a couple more in the bag before going to that half, and they'll be okay. They'll be okay, and we can call it a game.
Relatively. I'm a little bit worried right now, though. NYX sound spying up the operator. She's watching down mid as well. Could potentially tailwind up towards B lobby. NYX has to be so
Scanning ahead.
sharp with this. Oh, okay.
Every Every time you say you're worried, I imagine a side up.
Just kind of mauling.
Yeah, just being worried. Lulu pushing way back into spawn. Look at them. They're just taking over spawn right now, rotating.
Last
What?
player standing.
In
What's a
one
no scope?
big circle over to A. Interesting path.
Spike planted.
Right. Mid. I mean, B first, and then mid, and then now all the way through defender spawn into A.
It's crazy. It's like one of those, you know, those African ant armies. They just kill everything in their path. That's exactly what they did. They just flooded into mid, killed everyone along the way in market, picked out anyone over at B, and then just rotated over to A and just killing everyone in their path. Now Delbisky rotating over, like what on earth just happened? But this is kind of the stuff I want to see on Ascent. This is the kind of stuff Raph wants to see on Ascent, where people are playing a little bit differently.
Yes, but also just no time right now.
Yeah.
A little bit unfortunate. And it's great plays coming out from Envious once again. I mean, yes, the whole of MLT, a little unfortunately clipped by the spike. Great entry, right? And with the way that they, you know, march forward like ants, like you talking about, Vic. But Envious with that one-way smoke at the end is enough to just discourage Delbisky from going forward.
Yeah.
But Son was crazy with that operator.
Nick's definitely taking that time out. Like, what on earth just happened? Those weren't normal ants. Those were the African ants that eat
Killer
everything
ants.
in their paths, or locusts.
It's raising through the crops. But right
Yep.
now, I mean, it's a major concern as well because chewing through them like that, there is a bit of a hole in their pockets. And Samda is 2 points away from her Blade Storm, so it's a little bit difficult to pick that up in this round unless you're lucky enough to find a kill. And you might, have to go for some half buys. Meanwhile,
That's right.
MLT, I mean, if they keep up that pace and you know, we've seen them rush into sites, but at some point they just decided, like, okay, if the NYX is that good at holding Boathouse, we're just not going to fight them. We just go through mid again into defender spawn, into A. That, I could see that happening one more time.
Yeah, they're changing it up. They're adapting. It's the tech pause bear, but they're adapting their play to whatever they're encountering, and this is what's keeping them ahead of the game right now. NYX, I can imagine Coach Fifi is also trying to anti-strat MLT, trying to find ways to slow them down. MLT, they're just finding clear pathways, but they're doing it really fast.
So it's all these micro adjustments, right, Vic? They're so fast with MLT. But there are some pings across the map as well coming out from NYX. I'm not sure if that's just like random because of the attack pause, but also potentially signaling out to some of these changes in where they want to place the nanostorm, perhaps? Because you can see Delbisky previously, she had one like perhaps across lane, but now it's closer towards Canoe and maybe even Market, especially where the door is, because that's often where Elulu would kind of tailwind into. So they are looking to stop them if they rush into the B site, which would be smart.
Yeah, I think that's a interesting hypothesis. In the meantime, I'm seeing some changes happening here from NYX's side. Delbisky opting to go for full armor. Some switching out from a rifle to a Spectre. They're taking advantage of this tech pause here to rethink some of what they're doing.
That's really, I mean, something that you can do, but you can't really talk to your coach or anything, or
Yeah, Fifi's
not,
off comms
supposedly
right now.
not your teammates. Yes, they took the headset off of him.
But you can imagine, you know, there's a lot of thinking time here. And this is, you know, honestly, I think this is what NYX needs beyond the timeout is a mental reset right now to catch their breath. MLT was just moving so fast for them. I mean, I suppose now that we know what MLT stands for, militant, was it? That's just, they're operating on that level right now.
An army of ants.
Yeah. Army of Ants, just really well coordinated right now. Really confident.
All right.
Nothing
10 pauses
stopping them
done.
in their tracks. They're just on a singular goal right now. Looks like we're gonna go into round 11.
That's a really good hypothesis as well, Vic. I see that you study a lot from Professor Kyosei, and now you've got a PhD. There's a tactibear in the canoe.
Actually, I talked to Professor Professor Paperthin.
Oh yeah. He's a really good professor as well.
He's great.
Revealing area.
Love his turtlenecks. But
Yeah.
it's K490 on the lurk. She
It's all
took
his
out
wisdom.
Khan.
Switching out here to Phantom.
Okay. Just making sure that nobody gets that rifle as well, I guess.
Do you ever do that? Do you ever get a lesser buy because you think your teammate's gonna lose to die? You're gonna take their gun anyway? Because Saab was the one who switched to Spectre just
If my teammate is Chubby Ninja, maybe.
Oh!
Oh,
That
Right
is
here.
dirty. I knew you were always beating.
I'm gonna get killed. The next time we play, Vic is just gonna throw paint shells at me.
Definitely.
MLT though, cutting noise now, slowly walking into A.
30 seconds left.
And here's the hit. Oh, Paranoia doesn't really connect though. Always has to be
Spike
careful.
down
Sean
A.
is just dishing out the pain coming out from hell right now. They've managed to kind of push up in. Spike getting planted now. 10 seconds remaining.
10 seconds left.
Still not too bad.
One enemy remaining.
But then
MLT.
just as they push out, man.
Yeah, it was achievable by
Last
NYX.
round before the switch.
They are just going for those contact, situations, just going in for the gunplay right now, which is not working out for them because MLT's ready. NYX, I think, is so used to this aggressive W, style of gaming, and MLT is caught on to this, and they're well prepared. So NYX is really going to have to shake things up a little bit, find a different strategy to retake these sites.
It only worked out for the 3 rounds that they had, though. Right now, all right, changing up the positioning, going a little bit more aggressive with it. Dalbisky is able to take out Elu. So that null command was completely, you might say, nullified. Now we
Okay.
head on over into A site. Sombed is just here and waiting.
Here.
Yeah, she's ready to cook.
Lock in sight.
Chopped in.
Aw.
Only one.
Spike down A.
Cutting up enough onions to
One enemy
make someone
remaining.
tear up, though. It's going to be MLT, unfortunately, not quite able to secure this round unless Envious can turn things around on its head. But once more, numbers advantage will prevail. And we end the first half 4-8.
Yeah. This is good. This is the kind of note that NYX needed to end on. 4-8 is, this is still a game. This could turn around one way or another, but MLT just looks so sharp in this first half of the game. But you know what? We're going to go over to our panelists who are going to break this down. Tash and Raph.
Thank you very much, Quactoria, for that. I would say that this is a very tug of war between these two teams, but either way, this war so far is being won by MLT. As you said during our chat earlier, Raf, it's very, like MLT simplifies it. They're just so quick. They're very mechanical on how exactly they go for these takes, which makes them so good on attack. Wait out utility, cut the noise. Once everything is down, drop that recon, dash onto site, and just go inside. Yes, toward the, I would say the later half, MLT's momentum does get chopped off, but it might be a little bit too late, at least for the first half. But
Oh, yeah.
what do you think, Raf?
I completely agree with everything that you said, and with MLT just taking that step-by-step approach and doing it very efficiently, it's such a great sign for a team that's still finding that perfect balance between super hot and just kind of, out of the server type of cold. But on the side of NYX, I think this is also somewhat exposing a weakness that has been pretty prevalent in the last 2 days. If we think about it, they rarely win the first 2 rounds, and that kind of snowballs into a bit of a shaky first half. It's not the case all the time, but the numbers definitely back up that they're very slow starters. And with that initial impact that MLT did, they're having quite some trouble climbing back, or at least climbing out of this hole.
I think like the biggest takeaway that I saw from this is just that MLT is just so good at reading the stronger sides and the weaker sides. They know when exactly to exploit when they know that where a weaker side is. We saw that happen on round number 7 actually. Sorry, number 9. But the thing is, there are those hero moments coming in from NYX as well when they really take care of Boathouse. Like Delbisky coming out huge with the 3K or with the Sheriff from Boathouse. That can be something of a snowball for them. Regardless, let's see how they do on the second half. 4-8, not the worst in the world. Definitely a comeback era. Let's see how they do.
Possible.
Possible? Anything's possible in the world of Valorant. We've seen miracles happen. We've seen people come back from a 3-11, was it? And who knows? Who really knows? But right now, MLT is looking really strong. They look like they have their stuff together. They look confident. NYX looks a little shaken up. It was really good that they won that very last round of the first half. But now, hopefully, they mental reset here because this is their second chance. If they win this pistol round, again, that could mean 2 more rounds in the bag after that. And with that, you know, it'll tie up or at least get a lot closer. And MLT, it's up to them to make sure that doesn't happen.
So I'm really just thinking about it though, Vic, like what you were talking about yesterday with how these teams need to be more confident, because a slight trend could be that when you're defending on Ascent and you start going on the offensive, like what NYX did in that last round, that's when you can turn things around too. So I want to see MLT, try something different on the defensive side as well. But right now, just hold up inside of Boathouse. They're looking for NYX.
That's right. We'll
What
see if they
is
can
NYX doing?
hold Boathouse with the same energy as NYX earlier, but doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, not quite. The Nano Storm was pretty nice, so a lot of them are half HP, but you still need to land your shots, and right now NYX are just doing a little bit better, especially with Som clicking away on heads like that.
Yeah, Som is, feeling,
Spike planted.
Feeling some aggression right now that she was missing from the first half. Oh, Sapphire gonna get that kill. Everyone's hiding deep, and they don't need to. They don't need to peek out. They can play safe. Wait for his Sapphire to reveal herself. Oh. Look at these games being played. It's like a whack-a-mole game.
Yeah, that's precisely what it is. I mean, Sam really played that to perfection. I really tried to sneak in. She kind of had an idea of where they could have been hiding, and that's why she kind of flicked to the right spots. But because the movement on NYX were just a little bit faster, and they played that very well as well, so disciplined, hiding away. Just unfortunate for Sam, although she really tried. Good way for NYX to start the second half. Like Tash said, maybe a comeback is about to happen.
Luna sensing something's amiss. Saying that Recon Dark confirming her suspicions. They're pulling back.
NYX broke it so quickly though, the Recon. Although this is information.
That's right. I mean, Sova, Killjoy, setups at B tend to be really common. Oh my god!
Alright, what do I don't know if we have it, but we need to... 3 Sheriff shots.
Was it a skewer? Or just amazing triple kill over there?
Not sure.
Give us a replay!
Yeah, I want to see if it was a hat trick. Replay. I don't know if we actually have it though.
Tactic Bear, give us a replay. No, that was great. They defended B really well. I'm pretty sure NYX just won. What on earth happened? But you know what? MLT just aim game, real strong. And sometimes you have a Sheriff in your hand, you can't spray. You just can't do anything but flick hits with absolute crispness.
And that's all it comes down to. And because of such a play like that, again, Vic, economy completely turned around on its head. NYX are just They need that donation from Tash, really.
Yeah, this is really, it's really up to Tash to turn this around.
Found them.
Maybe a bit of support from Raph. But I mean, right now, MLT again. Look at the rifles they've got. Positioning. They're starting to peek out a little bit. They kind of need to be careful at the same time.
Both teams are playing a bit cautiously. Som hunting for at least one head. Make contact, but no kills yet.
Going in for that quick B split now. Som. First hit.
Spike down.
Blades are
B.
pulled out, but immediately dismissed by K4Tidy. Just the best anchor possible for MLT. Delbisky, although she was lurking, made her way all the
30
way into
seconds
defender
left.
spawn. Not sure if she's going to be able to close this out, especially when it's 4 targets right in front of her.
Yeah, Keferdite and Luna just holding that B site so well. I mean, they weren't going to let that mistake happen a second time. They weren't going to let NYX do it again. And now NYX trying to go back to the B site. It's not working out the same way it did as the pistol round.
Yeah, not so much.
They might need to take a page out of MLT's book and do something a little weird. You know, make some unusual pathing. Do something a little less predictable.
I think they were considering it in the pistol round, maybe. Like, they're just hovering around defender spawn, checking if anyone was rotating over. But, nah, right now, it's just a little bit difficult for them to pull it off. And at the same time, Alu's pulled out the operator. She's
The
got her
operator. Yes.
her sights trained down into her tiles as well. Oh, there it is.
You know, MLT is still carrying their guns from the second round. Second round of the second half, with 2 Spectres in hand.
That's why you see some of them up on 6,000 credits. They're good enough to they're good to buy up for like 2 more rounds. NYX though is trying to make their current buy count. Again, if MLT wins out on this, it's slightly broken economy for NYX, or maybe a bit of a half buy afforded to them. But MLT get, you know, inches closer towards their match point and potentially the series win.
You know, I've seen NYX do this before on the first map. They're getting ready for that execute. But they're being pushed back. It's only Jet on the site right now.
30 seconds
All right, rest
left.
of her teammates do manage to join her. Som getting that kill. Khan following up. Site is theirs for the taking.
Spike
But
planted.
Aluwu,
Wow.
Last player
their
standing.
operator, is it's a gift.
Perfectly wrapped for Som to potentially pick up, I suppose. K4Daddy, the only one left. She slowly rotated over. I mean, none the wiser. Just trying to adapt to it, but that was such a great take from NYX. I mean, if you look at how it started off, they're being careful about it, just kind of positioning around. You had Envious kind of jump spotting around Hell as well, but everything was completely evaded by Som. And so Som this time landed all the perfect entry frags. Just Cloudburst and then Tailwind into sight, but I want to pay attention to how she actually did that, because you know, good Jets, you might do the same thing, but then you're just going to Tailwind into the middle of the site. What Som did was to head towards the right side, and then that's where she would have had an angle towards Envious, and also bypassing Envious's paranoia. So creating so much space for her team, and then just getting the perfect angle on towards Heaven, eliminating Khan and whoever else tried to approach from that spot. So 6-10, and now they stand up fighting chance. But again, remember, like what we were talking about before, MLT, because of the rounds that they've won, they can buy up again.
Yeah, that's right. I would expect to see more A hits from NYX. It worked really well for them yesterday, and it's become very apparent. Like you pointed out, K4Daddy is just an amazing anchor on B, and it's really hard to push past her on the B site. She defends it really well, and now with her lockdown, you know, up and ready to go, it's gonna be really tough.
Just gonna stay alive, maybe use it for a retake. I mean, that's what we need to see from MLT, and Elu again with that operator. Just needs to find impact with it. Whoa.
It's like, we talked about it. It's like when you wake up in the morning and if you have a dog or a cat and they're kind of like sitting on your chest, it's like that.
That's not a dog. That's a killjoy.
Killjoy. Yeah. It's kind of weird if it's Killjoy, I suppose.
With the glasses. I really like that they had the Instagram filter for champions.
Yeah, that was cool. Did you use it?
I tried to mess with it, but I look horrible.
Is that why you didn't post it? You're like, oh, I look so bad as a Killjoy.
I look so bad. No, I'm actually serious though, because you know how small my eyes are?
That's...
And then if I had the wide, like, huge circular Killjoy glasses.
Like Harry Potter glasses?
Yeah, and I just look terrible.
Oh, so you're like, I do not look cute enough. Did not feel cute. I will delete.
I will delete. I won't delete later. I'll delete right now.
Well, that's a shame. I would have liked to see it. All right, they're doing something a little bit differently here, and they, you know, as we were just talking about, the A site might be the formula for success for NYX. Full control of trees right now. And it looks, yeah, Empire doing whatever she can.
Oh my
MLT. That hesitation for NYX really cost them. It gave MLT just enough time to finish that rotation to push them back out.
Yeah, they could completely... I mean, I don't know if they pumped their brakes, but it's just that utility coming out from MLT. And again, like what we saw before on the round 14 with K490 and her Sheriff, everyone was already in position. All it took was just for NYX to reveal themselves, and MLT just clicked away. So that's now 6-11. One more point, and we will have match point for MLT. So now, NYX slowly trying to push up front, but they're not expecting Elu with the operator inside of B main.
Nothing like an operator when you are so desperately trying to climb back up to ruin your mental and break any potential momentum. Now, they know with the operator there, it's going to be really hard. Luwu wisely repositioning onto mid, sensing a rotation about to happen. They're so ready.
Just kinda...
They're ready to greet them. Excellent hosts. Are ready to receive their guests.
She's got a lot of activities for them as well.
Oh yeah, plenty of activities. Util all ready to go.
Quick catch with the KO's fragment.
Yeah, imagine a catch. There you go.
Oh, they caught the flash. Another flash being tossed out as well, and this is also burning down the timer. But the push coming out from Tree definitely is a little bit annoying, and because of that, Luna and Envious can't quite watch their backs. Elu whiffing her shots as well, unfortunately. It's going to be NYX on the site. Well played and well taken because of a split push.
Definitely. Patey's split push there was well rewarded. K490 limited in her options right now. She could push them out with her ult. I'm not sure she prefers to save that, but when they're this close to match point, might be worth it.
Turn it down.
There's not much time left on the clock, so she decides to just give them info. Give them her home.
She's trying to like just make noise and open up that option to force NYX to think that she might be pushing out of door. But because NYX had that many players and Patey just being that aware, she took up that space around Heaven, which ultimately, you know, took down K490. So not bad. 7-11 right now, a 4-round differential. Not too far off. But again, if this timeout works, it's going to be match point. And MLT just needs the 2 more round wins. They're still sitting on their ultimates. And, well, Well, economy not too bad. Eluwu's operator maybe not too impactful, especially once she starts feeling that pressure of NYX pushing in on her. So back to a Phantom now.
Well, I don't know what Dan the Penguin makes of this. We've seen comebacks.
Wait, the Penguin's name is Dan?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, meet Dan.
It just looks derpy.
He's hanging out in wine. That's where I would hang out. If I was stuck somewhere on this map, it would definitely be wine.
Really? You got so many great spots. You got wine. Oh, okay, wait, no.
Wine, there's pizza, there's gelato.
There's pizza and gelato. Yes, I would
the
pick
best date
those
map.
two over wine.
Best date map by far. What do you think, Dan? Do you agree? Don't blink.
He's
Do you
like-
agree?
He's like, ugh, I don't want wine.
I
You
don't
also
know,
got
if I was-
Boathouse,
What?
kind of.
Why would you hang out Boathouse? I mean, I know this is where we have like our Killjoy and Sova usually set up a Boathouse, but that's not usually where I would hang like
Standing
on
ahead.
an off day.
Go for gondola ride, maybe.
Well, not in the boathouse, you know. I'd be on the water, be out al fresco, going where these guys are going, where pizza is, where market, do a little bit of shopping.
Actually, I might prefer gelato. These pizzas look kind of stale, but
yeah,
Nyx
the
doesn't
pizzas
care.
are right behind Con right now. They're usually, you know, still piping hot. Actually, if you look closely at them, smoking.
Oh, really?
Yep. But
Is there like
they're
steam
standing
coming
on the pizza. That's not how I usually treat my pizza.
Well, you need to do that if you want to throw up your opponent's crosshair placement vertically. So, just creating that presence now and a bit of space. Saw him pushing in. Elu trying to go
30
for that
seconds
duel,
left.
but it's not going to pay off. Heidi continuing to push up front. They want to take down B site, but here comes Aphrodite with her Odin. Sound is gone. But only for the time being.
Bomb grenade out.
She has an Olden.
Planted.
She has an ult. Samfire too, with a dagger.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
well, nothing now.
Would have deployed the lockdown if got control of her market quicker.
Yeah, that's right. Ooh, look
But
at
look
this.
at this setup.
Yeah.
Wow.
They want to make sure they get this right. It's gonna be really
Last
tough with an
player
Odin. Setup pays off.
Shadows traveling.
Time for Envious to potentially save as well. NYX and Gang very likely able to get away from this scot-free. So 8-11. I mean, what a way to actually take the site. You know, just perched on top of Pizza, and then setting up for that split push again. I mean, it's quick, and with Somd against Eluwu, Somd is doing so well.
One link breaks. the
Yeah,
rest
Som's
will
doing
follow.
great. This is what we want to see coming out of your primary duelist on this very last map in this best of 3. And I like what NYX is doing. They're changing it up. They're not just hitting A. They're not just hitting B. They're going to market, standing on the fresh pizza pies, and stacking on top of each other to create these really off angles that make it
Right
difficult for their opponents to hit too easily.
Get out of my way.
That's why they just keep trying to switch things up. Now varying in terms of pace as well. Hiding around B lobby and tiles in case MLT does decide to push out, especially because they just heard Eluwu pop that Blade Storm.
Yeah, they're on an eco buy right now, but I like that NYX is looking more like a cohesive team now.
Placing alarm bomb.
Potential jet pull too. Ooh, Eluwu.
One
Two
knife
blades
left.
spent.
Oh, two.
Here. Turret down.
Okay. A bit of presence around A main as well. Aphrodite. Just gotta be careful. She's be hopping away. Here comes Envious to assist. Paranoia sent out and it connects onto Khan. That's a rifle retrieved. Now the off angle held by K. Lock
There you
down,
go. This is the right time for the lockdown. They do
Couldn't
have two
Luna-
rifles in hand.
Oh no, they don't even need to shoot down the lockdown because they're just far back enough that it doesn't affect them. Hunter 3 now used as they push in, but it doesn't create enough chaos. Aphrodite was caught lacking, looking in the wrong direction.
Player standing.
Oh no. Oh
Luna
no.
though. Oh, with the sheriff.
Oh no. Nothing but a
ready.
sheriff.
Revealing area.
Match point.
This is just one of those unfortunate situations where they had control in their hands, but you could tell they were just
A.
so anxious about keeping this match. They end up losing it.
Yeah, Samd was searching for a head.
Yeah, Saw
But at that
might have
point-
overheated a little bit. Overcooked papaya.
Oh man, don't like that mushiness. But MLT are just, you know, doing a lot better, especially once they're starting to kind of get good reads again. That's what they needed all along. And then just kind of coming in with those staggered ultimates. Just because Delbitsky's lockdown was a little bit too shallow. There's just enough room for MLT to hide around. So well played by Luna and Gang, but right now, just trying to keep themselves alive in this upper bracket. NYX Kyosei calling the timeout.
That's right.
Whereas MLT, one more round.
I'm sure MLT is taking advantage of this timeout. I mean, both teams are allowed to speak to each other, no matter which team calls a timeout. There's a floating Tacti Bear coach Fifi talking to NYX Kyosei. Som is their IGL, which is a bit unusual when you have that duelist IGL. It's a bit difficult to make those calls when you are moving around the map, creating that space, and making that first pick. So it's really interesting that NYX plays this way, but perhaps that trickle down effect goes and affects the whole team in terms of their very aggressive playstyle.
It could, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Everyone trying to waterfall into the site. Son up on top of Generator, but K for Daddy just takes her down. Now Bisky fires back though, and that's the lockdown gone. Sapphire wants to start a fight though with the null command, and everyone's pushing out of heaven. Recon Bolt does assist a little bit, but look at who's hiding right underneath their shoes. It's gonna be Luna who comes in to take down Shooty. Not to worry about that any longer. Piety able to try to fight back for a second, but then Elu just strikes down in the final moment, closing out the map 13 to 8
Defenders
thick.
win.
Well done by MLT. You know, just like yesterday, that first map, you know, which they dropped, same occurrence today, dropping that first map, almost trying to suss out the other team, figure out what they were going to do next, and I wouldn't say a complete domination on both maps, but in terms of all their executes, all their set plays, and all the ideas that they have, and honestly, just raw gunpowder, there was a well-deserved win, and why they will carry on throughout this LCQ in the upper bracket, continuing on to the finals. What do you make of this, Quack?
I mean, I think both of these teams really have a lot of potential, but towards the end, you could see, despite both teams having such great, sharpshooting, sometimes it comes down to the read. Sometimes it comes down to that confidence. And MLT just had the greatest start ever on this map, and then coming towards the end of it, starting to read NYX Kyosei and their plays again. And one of those standout players has to be Luna, because although she's a little bit quiet at times, she also comes up huge with a lot of 4K quadra kills, just shy off an ace. But then towards the end with that Sheriff play, really turning things around once more.
Yeah, definitely. I think she did fantastic. Som did her darndest to keep the dream alive, but unfortunately it ended up being a 2-1 kind of game. But we're going to go over to the panel. We're going to break all of this down in more detail.
Low-key, that kind of felt like a grand final, given how competitive that game was, especially on the second half. Now, let's break that down. From what I saw from both teams, especially MLT, they are a team that definitely plays on rhythm. Once they figured out their momentum, if something's working, they'll just do it again and again until it finally gets broken. And I think that MLT has one thing I've noticed from a lot of maps I've played. They would lose pistol round 1, forced by round 2, or maybe they would win pistol with the Sheriff, and that's completely snowball in the first half. And then the second half is when we start seeing things sort of shake, honestly. But overall, I think that in maps that they're super proficient in, like say Fracture or Ascent, MLT has really good read of how the opponent works, really good reads of the weak and strong sides, and I would say that their retakes have been very, very clean.
That's true, and we have to give credit to Aluo, who held down the rotator position for majority of that defensive scheme. And they didn't actually have to change too much. Whereas on the side of NYX, there are just so many rounds where, again, it seemed they were very undecisive. Like, okay, guys, let's set up for a heavy side hit, but wait, let's default back towards tree. And in some of these transitions, they kept getting caught out. And even with these heavier side hits, when they did fully commit, for example, that second to the last round where there was only 2 hero rifles on the side of MLT. Envious had the first one, and with a pick-off, Aphrodite managed to get one for herself. And that's where everything just kind of tipped over for NYX. It looked so good for them, but they just could not deal with Envious this time.
Yeah, and just really stepped up in the second half. I think that in a lot of situations at the same time, you can really start to see that NYX was just at a loss on how exactly to deal with Envious and her, I would say, her smoke plays, her teleports. You just can't really pinpoint where she's going to be coming from. If you look like in terms of another thing that I've noticed is that the timing has been really impeccable. How, yeah, you will have one person rotating, and when you think that the rotations have been cleared, you'll see another one coming through. It's as though that they want to really make sure. Yeah, I feel bad for Fifi. It's the sad Fifi picture, but coming back, it's kind of like where you can actually see this sort of like double layer when it comes to lurks as well, which really keeps them in check, or at least keeps NYX in check, so you don't get caught off guard. Yeah, there were some rounds that were just, to me, impeccable for NYX. They had this really great high-low setup. They had really good hold of boathouse in a lot of situations, but they can't keep doing the same thing over and over when it comes to, but then MLT, they're just so proactive in changing up when something, to reacting to the change-ups whenever something happens. Again, Luna, MVP, 2 maps in a row. What is your take on this?
I mean, you already talked about, how flexible MLT is despite how, again, how much they simplify the game, and it's very, very efficient. But with everything that you've said, we definitely saw MLT outmaneuver NYX, which is very, very surprising again, because if we were just going to base this off that Haven game, it's like everything NYX did to MLT was just, again, turned around. We didn't get to see a knife kill as a response on the side of MLT, but they did manage to steal the series.
They did try, though. I mean, we saw it happen on Fracture. They almost got that knife. It's just that Delbisky just sort of like twirled and like, all right, we gotta take it down. So that's all onto a discipline at that point. But yeah, I think that if I were to really oversimplify the game, if I were to look at NYX, it's all about the hero plays, the big person holding those big anchors, as opposed to MLT, where you start to see everyone having their job and everyone doing their job perfectly. At least is that what I think. But anyways, we're gonna talk a bit with one of the players. Samfire is on the line, and I'm really curious to see what is going on. Hello, Samfire. It's nice to meet you.
Hello.
It will be our first time, at least, meeting on this desk. So I have a lot of questions. I mean, first of all, congratulations for for a massive run just now. I just want to know, how does it feel? I mean, some of your teammates haven't been officially playing for a while, and some of you I think some of you guys are on and off, haven't been making it onto the big stage yet. How does it feel to be here?
Oh, I'm really proud of my team. We all have high enthusiasm and high hopes, and we will try our best to become qualified. It's just, I feel so relieved the way that we played. We all comms very well. This time we did it very properly.
Right, so let's talk a little bit about your run just now. Tell me, what's the difference between how you played on Heaven and how you played on Fractured Ascent? Why is it better for you on Fractured Ascent compared to Heaven?
I think it's because it was our first game. It's always our first game that is lack of something. And we were not really sure on that first map. Like, we default a lot, and we were supposed to play together, but we just hesitate a lot. And on Fracture, we chill, we take a breathe and take some couple drinks and do some rest, and yeah, we managed to get ourselves calm and sure that we can do this.
Yeah, it's very clean how you played those entire rounds. So let's talk a little bit about how MLT came about, because I've been here from Open 1, 2, 3. I didn't see you guys make it until LCQ. That how did MLT come about, and what made you decide to join up with these players that we haven't seen on the big stage for a while? What happened there?
Okay, so basically MLT just came up. Like it's very new. We practiced for 2 weeks because we just met together. We gathered all the players for 2 weeks in under 2 weeks, and it's because of the manager. The manager came to us. He asked us, "Can we play? Can we be a team and try our best to VCT?" And yeah, there. That's all. When he asked us, we just start to committing our practice and build up our chemistry and everything.
Wait, hold up. So you're telling me that you guys have only played together and practiced for 2 weeks?
Yeah. Actually, on yesterday's interview, I accidentally said it 2 months because I was so nervous, but it's actually 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So before this, have you guys ever played together before? Were you guys friends?
No, never. It's just
okay.
K4 and MBS were together.
Okay, so like, what's the vibe like in your team? Are you guys actually friends? Is it tense? Is it like, because you guys are still very very new to each other? What's it like?
We're very far from each other. I stayed in Indonesia, one from Pakistan, one from Singapore, one from China. It's just we're very long distance, and we just made that up together. Like we had to chill and talk about it, and we're becoming friends on online.
So like, is language a barrier issue for you guys, or does everyone just communicate English no problem?
Yeah, English no problem.
Wow, Raf, I feel like you might have a question to ask.
Actually, this isn't the first time we've seen Samfire on, on the interview. I think we interviewed her way back when she was still on Point Authority Blossom, right?
Oh yeah.
I think, yeah, it was. So, actually, I don't think this is a question, but like to see the growth from that point to now, just like as players, you guys have grown so much, and the way you played was super impressive. And you, what you said about just having a slow start, take a deep breath, just relax a little bit, play the game. I think that's like already a sign of a very very mature team. Like, don't you agree, Tash?
Yeah, I really think so. And I really think that having, obviously having Envious and K4 in your team is giving you guys a little bit more, I would say, of an experience when it comes to approaching the game. So for now, I think a lot of people, do want to know about the return of these two players. Plus, you guys, do you guys have anything you want to say to everyone of your fans, or at least the supporters at home?
We're just going to say to them that keep supporting us. We will try our best and see you guys on the next stage.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much, Samfire. I think that's all from us. Good luck for your next one. I'm super excited to see it. The only thing I think that Raf is very upset about is that there was no justice for Fifi the dog because you guys took down NYX. So we're going to be waiting for that. So we'll see you later, Samfire. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, so that's why you're so quiet, huh, Raf? You're still upset about it.
What have you done? Honestly, if I had my dog coach me, that would be the greatest trick. Like, hey Manju, do you wanna, coach me Valorant?
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
I
But
mean, do you know that meme on the internet? Like, on the internet, nobody knows your cat. Like, you could be like, nobody knows your dog.
yeah, it's true. Who knows? What if I'm just, like AI? I'm an actual
What
dog, you know what I mean?
if? Okay, hear me out. What if you're a robot, and inside your chest is actually Mandu controlling you?
I don't know. I cannot confirm nor deny these accusations.
Anyways, we're gonna recover for whatever that was. We're gonna go for a quick break, and when we come back, Series 2 for the VCT Game Changers Asia Pacific LCQ. We'll be right back.
Enemy remaining.
Nice job.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Flashbang.
Nailed them. Deleted. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One down. Spike down B. No more sofa. Yikes, last play. Here.